certain and because they both agree on diverting the lafz from its dhahir meaning. But the tawil of the salaf is ijmali, that's why we call it tawil ijmali, what tafweed is. And because they'll just say what it isn't, right? And they'll delegate the real meaning to Allah, while the tawil of the khalaf is tafsili, detailed, due to necessity, because of the abundance of innovators, specifically the Mu'tazila and the Jahmiyyah, who will say they'll have their arguments, but they were just commented, so out of necessity this came. Now I want to find tajsim and tashbih. So for Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we'll define tashbih and tajsim. Really, practically, they're the same thing for us, and it's affirming ambiguous verses to their apparent and literal meanings in the Arabic language. And when the apparent is, let's say, problematic, for example, they'll affirm just body, limbs, space, place, movement, transition, which are all invalid for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we see Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah making this more detailed, and he says that those who take the apparent and literal meanings and regarding verses that are ambiguous, they are the anthropomorphists, while those who deny the lafz altogether, the Mu'tazila, and then the Salaf, the majority of the Salaf, they just delegated the meaning to Allah and didn't go into the meaning. Yeah. Okay. I just want to say that Ibn Hajar, you can't just dismiss him as saying like he's making stuff up or coping, because Albani confirms that he never intended opposition. So if he's claiming that this is majority of Salaf, he's not trying to delude or lie to people. Yeah. The method of the Salaf. So Imam Muhammad al-Shaybani, he clearly says this. He says that they would not do tafsir, they did not describe it, did not compare it, and they remain silent. So only what Allah and the Quran said, they would say that and it would remain silent. This is in opposition to the method of the Taymiyyahs. So we see Ibn Uthaymeen, he interprets Imam Muhammad in a very particular way, and he says that when Imam Muhammad said that they do not do interpretation, he meant they did not do interpretation of the Jahmis, but there is an acceptable interpretation, and that's going with the literal meaning, which as we see is impermissible by what Imam Bayhaqi said. Now I'm just going to show some scholars like that you really can reject and be a Sunni, who clearly negate stuff that my opponent unfortunately does affirm. For example, Abu Hanifa says that there's no makan. He says that Allah's nearness and distance are not spatial or physical. They're in terms of honor and disgrace. We see him doing actually tawil here. Imam Tahawi, right, in Aqidah Tahawiyah, he says that there's no six directions. I'm going to be very quick. Imam Shafi says he doesn't refrain, but he also does tawil. And then Malik ibn Anas, he does it. He says he does tafweed al-mana.
5 minutes.
Okay. Stop sharing.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ونسأل الله رب العرش الكريم الذي استوى على عرشه حقيقة وجلس على العرش أن يظهر الحق على لساننا آمين. Okay, so first of all, I want to start off by saying there's a couple things we need to speak about. A lot of the scans you didn't show, you ran through them, but that's not a problem. We'll do it. We'll go through them. Firstly, for us as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, all of our quotes and our beliefs and our i'tiqad, it comes from the Quran and the Sunnah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He teaches us about Himself in the Quran, and the Messenger teaches us in the Sunnah. And Allah says in the Quran, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-Arshi istawa, the most merciful rose above the throne. A'amintu man fi as-sama', do you believe in the one who's on the heavens? Yas'adu ilayhi al-kalim at-tayyib, that the good word goes up, direction up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and other ayat. From the Sunnah, we have the famous hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he asked a little girl, 9 or less years old, where's Allah? She said, above the heavens, fi as-sama'. And he said, because of this, she is a believer. And the Salaf used this hadith, and they affirmed it, and it's in Sahih Muslim. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he was speaking about the creation, he said that the lowest heaven has a distance between it and the heaven before it of 500 years. Or sorry, 100 years, or 500 years. And between every two heavens is a distance of 500 years. And between the seventh heaven and the kursi is a distance of 500 years. And between the kursi of the water is a distance of 500 years. And the throne is above the water, and Allah is above the throne. Listen carefully to this. And I'm going to send this in the WhatsApp server, inshallah, or the group chat, the scan of this. At-Tabari, rahimahullah, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said that the throne is above the water and Allah is above the throne. If you say this is in terms of makan, as you said earlier, what does this mean for us? This means that the throne is above the water through makan, not through makan. So this is one of our evidences, and I have sent it now in the Discord, or sorry, in the WhatsApp. The next thing is that Al-Qurtubi, when he speaks about the Salaf, because the debate now, it's about the Salaf. It's about the Aqidah of the Salaf. Al-Qurtubi, he says that the Salaf, all of them used to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was above with a jiha, with a direction. He mentions in his tafsir, and I'm going to send the scan, and he mentions in his book, Kitab Asma'illah al-Husna. So now we have an Ash'ari scholar, Al-Qurtubi, saying in his books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above the throne according to the Salaf. So this means this is the Aqidah of the Salaf. I'll give you another Ash'ari scholar. He says that the lay people and that many of the Sahaba believed in Tajsim, and they believed in Jiha. And I'm going to send the scan for this too. He said many of the Sahaba, they believed in Tajsim. And many of them, they believed that Allah was in a Jiha. But because they were laymen and the Prophet didn't want to explain philosophy to them and stuff, he just agreed to them to whatever they said and he let it go. Even if we affirm that this is true and that this is not insulting the Sahaba, Yazid ibn Harun, the teacher of Bukhari, he said whoever disagrees that Allah is above the throne the same way the lay people believe it, then he's a Jahmi. What does this mean? The Ash'ari scholars, they say the lay people are Mujassima because they believe Allah is above in direction. That's why when they make dua, they look up. Yazid ibn Harun, he's saying if you disagree with the layman that Allah is in a direction, which is what Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, the Ash'ari scholar, says, what does that mean? It means you are a Jahmi. Yazid ibn Harun is the teacher of Imam Bukhari. And this narration was narrated by Bukhari himself in his book of Aqidah, right? In his book about the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Furthermore, we have Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And this is very important. I need everyone to focus on this point. The interlocutor here, he said that if you take it upon the apparent meaning, that's tajsim. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, with his own hand, he wrote in Usul al-Sunnah, Al-Hadith عندنا على ظاهره. When he's speaking about the attributes, he said the hadith for us is upon the apparent meaning. Now, I want this question to be written down, and this is my first question. Ya Sam, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and I'm going to send the scan, when he said Al-Hadith عندنا على ظاهره, does this mean that Ahmad ibn Hanbal was a mujassim? Because you said tajsim is to take the hadith upon its apparent in the sifat. And now I've sent this in the VC chat. It's page 5 of Usul al-Sunnah by Ahmad ibn Hanbal himself. So you can't weaken it because he wrote it with his own hand. This is my first question that I want answered, inshallah. My next point is Ibn Qutaybah, because you said we don't know the meaning. We say we don't know the meaning. Ibn Qutaybah, when he was speaking about the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, and I have the scan here, I'm going to send it in 1 second. He said that everyone knows the meaning of hands, because this is about Tafweed versus Ta'wil. He says everybody knows the meaning of hands. But when it comes to hands, we look at, he said everyone knows the meanings of hands, and this is what Ibn Abbas said, al-yadan al-yadan. He says, وَلَا نَتَجَاهِلْ مَعْنَاهَا. And we do not say we do not know what it means. What did he say? We do not say we do not know what it means. And Ibn Qutaybah, he is from the Salaf. So now this shows that the Salaf knew the meanings, and now I've just sent the scan in the VC chat, in the Discord. He said, we know the meanings of them, and we do not say we do not know.
5 minutes are up.
خلاص, that's it now. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, Sam, you can go ahead, and you have 3 minutes now.
Second. Share. Can you?
And also, Qabas, if you can, do send the English translation, since that was one of the conditions, at least with the definitions. I think that should also be part of anything you send. Send the translations as well.
Yeah, the translations will be sent, inshallah, by brother and bismillah.
There's a few points my interlocutor mentioned. One was the hadith slave girl. I'm glad he brought that up because Imam Bayhaqi interprets this, and this is how we understand it. We don't deny the term in itself, fi samawat. It's not an issue. Imam Bayhaqi, he explains it. He says that the meaning was that the Prophet addressing the slave girl to her understanding. The mushrikeen, they believe that their gods were on earth, and what do you call it? And the Prophet wanted to know if the slave girl is a mushrik, and so that asked, according to her understanding, where is Allah? Because if she pointed towards somewhere on earth or towards the Kaaba, maybe, then this would show that she's actually a disbeliever, because that's what the mushrikeen believe. And so she says, fi samawat. Another thing is that this is the Qibla. So when she points, right, that's the Qibla of dua, as we all know. So this is not an issue, right? Imam al-Haqi, of course, is an Ashari. He has no problem with this. I think, um, yeah. And then another point I want to bring up, I wanted to refute some other points. I have to look at, right, Istawa. We affirm all these meanings, right? All the Salaf said it, the Khalaf said it, all the Ashari Maturidis, they all say, yes, they affirm this stuff, right? But we didn't know what these terms mean. So I'll just bring here. One thing is, I just want to ask. So we can show from the Quran itself that fawq is not always used literally. So in Surah Anam, Allah says, "وَهُوَ الْقَاهِرُ فَوْقَ عِبَادِهِ وَهُوَ الْحَكِيمُ الْخَبِيرُ." And so clearly, we're gonna ask, is Allah's power, right, or qahir, right? Is that in Makan, right? Um, that's an important question I think we need to ask. Because then are we saying that Allah's sifat are in a makan as well? And then I want to ask him if he believes that, are they all in the same makan or not? That's a very important question, because if they're not, then Allah has body parts, right? And that's just tajsim. And how much time do I have left?
20 more seconds.
Okay. I just want to then, in the meantime, bring up. Oh, there we go. So if you look at so, I'm gonna cede my time here because I prefer to ask these questions later. So I'm gonna
Yes,
end my
5
time here.
minutes are up now.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
stop.
free discussion now.
Don't I
Oh
get
no
3 minutes?
Qabas gets 3
Oh,
minutes.
sorry, yes, sorry, yeah, 3 minutes, Qabas.
Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, Bayhaqi is not from the Salaf. His tafsir is not a hujjah for me, but I'm going to use it. He said something very important. He said the Salaf, or sorry, the Mushrikeen of Quraysh believed that Allah subhanahu that their gods were on the earth. This is true. I'm going to send a hadith narration right here, Arabic and English this time, where Imran ibn Hussein, he says, and the hadith is in the WhatsApp if anyone wants to read it, Sunan al-Tirmidhi 3483. And this is authenticated by the Salaf. Bukhari brings it as well in his Khalq al-Ibad. Now, Imran ibn Hussein, he said that my prophet, or the prophet, sorry, the Prophet ﷺ went to my father and he told him, how many gods do you worship? He said 7. 6 of them on earth, 1 above the heavens, or 1 above the sky. Now, as Sam said, they believed in gods on the earth, but 1 of them was above the heavens. So what did the Prophet say to him? He said, in which one of them do you depend on for your most adherent hopes or concerns? He said, the one over the sky, the one above the heavens. So the Prophet said, oh Hussein, if you will accept Islam, I will teach you 2 words that will benefit you. Later, when Hussein had embraced Islam, he said, O Messenger of Allah, teach me the 2 words. He said, O Messenger of Allah, teach me the 2 words that you promised me. And the Prophet ﷺ, he told him to say, O Allah, inspire me with guidance and protect me from the evil of my ego. Now the shahid, the point here that we need, is this mushrik, he was told to disbelieve in the 6 gods on earth and to believe in the one above the heavens, that he already believed in. So he believed in Allah, but he believed in an extra 6 gods, which were on earth. So the Prophet said, get rid of the ones on earth and believe in the one above the heavens. And this is mentioned in Al-Razi in his tafsir of the Surah Al-Mulk, أَأَمِنْتُمْ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاءِ. He says that the mushrikeen believed Allah was above the heavens, in a literal way, the same way the Wahhabis do. He doesn't say Wahhabis, but he calls them the Mujassima, meaning Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Now, this is true. They believed Allah was above the same way we believe Allah is above. The issue is the Prophet ﷺ told them that this was a correct view because he told Hussein's father to accept the one God who you believe is above the heavens. So I agree with you. Yes, we believe Allah was above the same way the Mushrikeen of Quraysh did in this aspect because the Prophet affirmed it as it was mentioned by Bukhari and At-Tirmidhi and others. The second thing he said, Qibla of Dua. Our debate is about the Salaf. Bring me one Salaf who mentioned the Qibla of Dua ever. One of them. This is not found. None of the Salaf believe in the Qibla of Dua. This is a bid'ah you guys invented. The second thing is you said fawq isn't always literal. Okay, fawq is no problem. I'll accept it. Fawq isn't always literal. But in the hadith of Abdullah bin Mas'ud, he said that the arsh is fawq al-ma' wallah fawq al-arsh. Why do you take one on the zahir and one on the metaphorical meaning? And did Ahmad ibn Hanbal not say هذا الحديث or these hadith and على ظاهره, as I sent with the translation in the WhatsApp group chat, that we take these upon the apparent meaning? Why do you pick and choose when it's apparent and when it's metaphorical? And Ahmad and Imam al-Shafi'i, he gave us a principle. He said, Al-Quran kulluhu ala zahirihi. And I'm going to send this canvas translation for this. He said, the whole Quran is upon its apparent meaning, except unless if a dalil from the Quran or the Sunnah or the Ijma' that came saying otherwise. So the asl is the Zahir. Ahmad ibn Hanbal said that we take the hadith on the Zahir. Who are you to come and go out of this the asl and make a takhsis and say we don't take it upon the Zahir? And I'll donate the rest of my time.
Well, now it's open discussion, so whoever wants to begin.
Tamam. Do you want to ask the first question, or do you want me to answer the first question?
Can I just answer your thing on okay, one is Imam Shafi, right? Imam Shafi. So sorry, you asked two questions. I remember two questions. One is what is our method? Why do we take some places Dahir and what places metaphorical? And about Imam Shafi, right?
But 1 second before that, can I just stop for 1 second to the
Yes.
mods? Showkat, did you write the questions I asked in my opening statement?
One second, I'll teach him how to unmute.
Oh, no problem. Either way, can I give you the questions again then?
Habibi Qabas, I did not.
It's okay. It's okay. No
So
worries.
my capacity as a mod was limited.
It's
because,
okay. It's okay. Can I ask them again then, if that's okay?
Yes, for sure. Habibi, go ahead.
So the first one is Imam Ahmad said we take it upon the apparent meaning, as he wrote in Surah Sunnah. So my question is, your definition of tashbih is taking the sifat on the apparent meaning. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, when speaking about the sifat, he said we take them upon the apparent meaning. So can you explain to me this quote of Imam Ahmad and how he's not a mushabbih? That's the first question. The second question was about Al-Qurtubi and Al-Izz bin Abd salam. Al-Izz bin Abd salam, he said that the lay people and some of the lay Sahaba were upon just tajseem, they believed in jihad, and the Prophet let it go because they were lay people and he didn't want to confuse them. And Yazid ibn Harun, who's the teacher of Bukhari, he said anyone who doesn't believe in istiwa the way the lay people believe in it is a Jahmi. So if those Sahaba believed in jihad and they were lay people according to the Ash'ari scholars, shouldn't we also believe in jihad? Otherwise we'll be Jahmiyyah?
Okay. So first with you also mentioned two questions, and I wrote those two down, which was about and I'll address them in order to best of my abilities. But you also mentioned when we take the Zahir and when we take metaphorical, and also Imam Shafi. So first with Imam Ahmad, so we don't have an. So first, I need to know what he's talking in regards to, because like, does he mention which hadith he's talking about?
Imam Shafi is not speaking about hadith.
No, Imam Ahmad, sorry, Imam Ahmad.
Imam Ahmad, yeah, I sent the scan and I translated it too.
Yeah, it says in the hadith, right?
Yeah. So it's in the chapter heading, right? So the chapter heading, it says, Al-Iman bi ru'yatillah fi dar al-akhirah. Belief in seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next life, right? But if you read the whole quote above it, he's speaking about the sifat in general. So he's saying, كما جاء عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على ظاهره. So he's speaking about the attributes in general. He's giving a general principle.
Yeah, and we would agree with that general principle, except when it's impossible.
Okay, my question for you is,
and I would say that Imam Ahmad also, I didn't have time to show this, but Imam Ahmad he also does Tafweed at times.
Okay,
right?
we'll go to that and we'll discuss that in a second. But my question is, Imam Ahmad says we take it upon the apparent as a general rule. You said we agree with this general rule, but there's specific situations where we can't accept it.
Yes.
Can you show me which attribute you take upon the apparent meaning?
Okay. For example, power.
Okay, no problem. The chapter heading is called Ru'ya, seeing Allah. Do you believe you can see Allah?
Yes. As a Maturidi, we believe that.
On the apparent meaning?
Yes.
And
we
Allah
believe. We believe not only that, we believe Maturidis specifically say that we can see it with our eyes.
Okay, no problem. You see with your eyes. The same way you see the moon?
No, that's tashbih.
Okay, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Sahih al-Bukhari, he said.
Yes, I know the hadith. Yes, and do you want me to explain that? Do you want to explain that or not?
Yeah, let me mention the hadith. So
okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, you will see Allah the same way you see the moon, and this is in Sahih al-Bukhari, and you said that's tashbih.
No, I'm saying your meaning by it. Sorry, I should clarify. Your meaning by it. What do you intend? What do you intended?
What do I intend? I didn't give my intention.
Okay, so you're trying. Okay, because you're from direction.
Yeah, but I didn't give any meaning to this specific wording.
Yeah, but you saying it specifically, I should say, because you intend by direction.
I intend by that with my two eyes, I will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in front of me.
With a direction, right?
The same way I see the moon.
Okay, you see, so when we say the same, so what do you mean by the same way? Do you mean direction or not?
The way I see the moon is in front of me, right?
Yes, yeah.
I see Allah the same way. Is that clear? That's what the Prophet
said. So are you gonna wait? Sorry, I can hear Okay, sorry. When it comes to
Yeah.
so are you abstaining from answering whether Allah has a direction?
No, I'll give you my aqidah in a second, but you said
Okay.
I was wrong. How do you know I was wrong in my understanding?
Because I know you affirm direction.
What? Yeah, I affirm that Allah is in direction, but I'm not using this hadith to prove that. I'm using this hadith to prove I will see Allah the same way I see the moon. The moon is in front of me, Allah will be in front of me. And that's the hadith from Bukhari.
Yeah, but do you believe that just like how the same way how the moon has a direction, and let's say it's above us or something, or in front of us, whatever, that we'll see Allah with a direction like that.
So when the hadith is not speaking about the moon's modality, it's speaking about my modality of seeing.
Yeah. So do you want me to say how? Okay, I'll be easier. Do you want to know how I'll tell you? Because how the Ahnaf interpreted it, and the Maturidis and the Asharis, right? Is that actually I don't know Ashar, so I won't say on that. But Maturidis definitely, and the Ahnaf is that the moon is like it's very clear. There's nothing obstructing your view, so you'll see Allah clearly.
Okay.
So just like how you look up into the moon and you can see it clearly, unobstructedly, you'll see Allah.
So you'll see Allah with your eyes the same way you see the moon.
Yes.
Okay.
While negating anything that's tashbih from it, which is
how do you see the moon? Can you explain to me how you see the moon?
no. So look, it's not the like here is not absolute.
No problem. You can give any takhsis. I'm telling you, I'm going to see Allah the same way I see the moon, and you said yes. How do you see the moon? That's my question. How do
unobstructedly?
Unobstructedly. Okay, perfect. But that's not the. You're describing what you're doing, but you're not describing how you're doing it. How do you do it? What are you doing to see the Allah?
Yeah. So you're trying to get a kayf, and we don't believe there is a kayf here.
No, the kayf is for you. There's no kayf for you.
No.
So you have no kayf.
No. We don't believe that the kayf is carried over.
No, but the kayf is for you. The hadith says you will see Allah the same way you.
Yeah, with our eyes.
Okay, how do you see with your eyes? What is okay? Let me make it easier. What does seeing mean?
Seeing?
Yeah.
You perceive something.
Okay, so
perception with sight, perception with something visible.
Is Allah a thing according to your madhab?
Abu Hanifa says a shay.
Okay, and you affirm. Okay, خلاص, and you affirm that.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Allah is the thing which you will see with your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And when you look at it that.
But
when you're looking, one second. When you're looking with your eyes, do you look in a direction?
For created things, yes.
But when you're looking at, okay, have you seen an uncreated thing before?
No.
So how do you know it's in a direction or not?
Because not for any uncreated thing, but specifically for Allah, because Allah cannot be in direction.
Why not?
Because okay, so one I can give you from two ways. One is
from
that
the Salaf, only the Salaf. That's the
Imam Tahawi. He's when Aqidah Tahawiyah. If you reject Aqidah Tahawiyah, you're not a Sunni, because everyone affirms Aqidah Tahawiyah.
No problem.
Even your Salafi shuyukh and Ibn Taymiyyah and all these guys.
No problem. I'll help you out.
Okay.
Page number 6. It says ولا تحويه الجهات الست. No problem. That's your argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's not the sole argument.
I will just to interrupt. The meeting is about to end, but I sent the new link in the WhatsApp.
Okay.
Okay. We'll join each other. 1 second. Am I able to bring the people in? I can. Tamam.
Okay, you're online. Yeah. So another thing is that direction entails makan.
Okay, one second. Direction entails makan. This is correct, yes.
Okay. And we know that makan is negated from the Salaf, from all the scholars. Literally. So any scholar who talked about makan said there's no makan.
Okay, Ibn Taymiyyah.
Ibn Taymiyyah is wrong.
Okay, Ad-Dashti.
I don't know.
Okay, so how are you saying all scholars negated it, and I'm bringing you scholars and saying you don't know? Ibn Khuzaymah.
Yeah.
Ibn Khuzaymah.
Yeah. So they were
Ibn Battah, Lalaka'i, Al-Ajuri, Ghulam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Abdullah ibn Ahmad bin Hanbal al-Shaybani, Salih ibn Ahmad.
Okay, Imam Ahmad does not affirm makan.
No, I said Abdullah ibn Ahmad bin Hanbal.
Are you referring to Kitab al-Sunnah?
Yeah.
Kitab al-Sunnah is like, we don't accept this completely. Okay. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude. I'll try to be sorry. I shouldn't say joke because this is It's not accepted.
Can you
It's
weak?
considered.
Okay, why is it weak?
So I'm not going to debate that. I'm just going to tell you that we don't accept it.
You're rejecting a whole book written by Abdullah ibn Ahmad's son, and I'm telling you why, and you're saying I don't want to say why.
Yeah, so
Yeah?
I have to look. I just know that our scholars say it's weak.
Okay, so you're going to reject the whole book. Okay, fine, no problem. In Bukhari, in Khalq Af'al al-Ibad, he brings a narration that says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment when he's going to be seen, يَأْتِيهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ فِي مَكَانٍ. يَأْتِيهِمْ رَبُّهُم فِي مَكَانٍ. Their Lord will come to them in a place. This is by Bukhari in Khalq Af'al al-Ibad. How do you understand this hadith?
I have to see the hadith.
Okay, I'll get it for you 1 second.
But I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you okay, do you think that Imam Shafi doesn't wait, yeah. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Okay.
No problem.
Do you think Imam Abu Hanifa wait, so do you think if you deny Makan you're deviant?
What do you mean by makan? If you deny that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above with a jihad, then yeah, you're a deviant. That's what makan means. If you don't want to use the lafz, that's fine. But the meaning of it, the entailment of it, of course, anyone who
Okay,
negates it.
so Abu Hanifa says there's no Makan. Imam Shafi says there's no Makan.
Okay, first of all, Imam Shafi did not say that. Secondly, bring the quote.
Yeah, he did. I'll bring you the quote.
Yeah, you bring the quote. Secondly, I've already explained to you, if by makan you're negating the makan which I just described, then yeah. But if you mean by a makan tahwih al-jihad, then it doesn't matter. And Abu Hanifa didn't say that. You're quoting al-Tahawi, and al-Tahawi is not quoting Abu Hanifa. He's just saying this is what I believe Abu Hanifa's aqidah is. It's not a word for word quote. This is his.
No, he didn't say I believe. He said this is you're right. It's not a word for word quote.
Yeah,
but there's two things.
It's 1 second. It's his interpretation of Abu Hanifa. That's number one. Number two, al-Tahawi says لا تحويه الجهات الست. He says the 6 directions don't encompass him. I agree with this. And this is what our scholars say, right? If you go to Ibn Abdul Aziz, he does a sharh of al-Aqidah al-Tahawiyya, and he says this is correct. We as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we do not say Allah tahwih al-jihad al-sitta, he's encompassed by the 6 directions. Rather, we say nothing encompasses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he encompasses everything, and he's above in an unrestricted sense. So yes, we accept this. We don't have a problem with this. But now, can I ask you a question?
Wait, let me send.
Okay, I just responded to your Abu Hanifa thing, though. Can I ask you a question now?
No, because we have no. Here's the thing. Imam Tahawi says, you're right. Imam Tahawi says, but Imam Abu Hanifa himself directly says no makan. Tahawi ironically does not mention makan. He says jihad, but Abu Hanifa says makan.
Okay, bring the.
Yeah. So fiqh al-absat, Abu Hanifa says there is no makan, and then Imam Shafi in Ittihaf al-Sadat al-Muttaqin said, and I'll send the quote.
No, the Imam Shafi quote. Bring me the sanad. This is not authentic.
What do you mean it's not? I just send you the reference.
Yeah, the sanad. There's no sanad that's authentic for this. Bring me the sanad for this. You can't just quote a book and say now it's authentic because it's in a book. This book comes hundreds of years after Imam Shafi'i. There's no sanad for this quote that's authentic.
Okay, what about Abu Hanifa?
Okay, then bring the Abu Hanifa quote too. Right? And now let me ask you a question, because you've asked maybe 3-4 questions in a row.
I didn't ask you. What question did I ask you?
You asked me about Tahawiyah. You asked me about Imam Shafi'i's quote, and you asked me, is the one who negates makan a deviant? And you also asked me, do I believe in jihad, when you asked me about the hadith of the moon? So you've asked me like many questions. Can I ask one question?
I didn't. I was asking that context. Sorry, I was clarifying, but the moon is like from your question.
Forget the moon stuff. Let me ask you my question.
Okay. Sure.
This is one question, but there's many follow-ups to make sure the question makes sense. Can you give me a synonym for the word Roshan?
Sorry?
Can you give me a synonym for the word Roshan?
What word?
Roshan.
I don't know that word.
Okay, but so you don't know, because you don't know it, you can't give a synonym, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, mumtaz. So Roshan is a Libyan word that means window. The reason I mention this is to bring the idea that if you don't know the meaning of a word, you cannot give a synonym for it. Now I'm going to provide and bring evidence that the Salaf brought synonyms for the sifat of Allah. Imam al-Bukhari in his in his Kitab al-Tawheed, he brings synonyms from Mujahid bin Jabr and Ibn Aliyah, saying that istawa ila sama, say irtafa, and he also says Mujahid bin Jabr istawa ala al-arsh, and other synonyms. Now my question is, if you don't know what istiwa means, how can you bring a synonym for it? Because you said if you don't know the meaning of a word, you can't bring a synonym for it. So how did the Salaf bring synonyms for these words if they don't know the meaning?
Okay, so one is that you could say, so there's a few ways you can say this, and one is if you believe in Tawil specifically, that there are multiple meanings, we just don't know which one, right?
No, but that's not Bukhari did. Bukhari gave a specific meaning. He said istiwa means irtifa. Istiwa means ala al-arsh. Istiwa means XYZ. He's giving you specific
Yeah, yeah,
meaning.
yeah, yeah. Because
And this can't be
again,
ta'wil. Let me just quickly mention this. This can't be ta'wil. Why? Because he brings the apparent meaning of the words. And ta'wil negates the apparent, as you mentioned in your opening statement.
we affirm that irtifa is a possible meaning.
Okay, quick question.
We
Bukhari,
don't. Sorry, we don't negate. We don't look. We don't. It's not about apparent or not. It's about we negate meanings that are impossible.
okay, no problem. So
So
Bukhari,
I just
just
want to say.
quickly,
I just want to say, if
do you
the
know?
apparent meaning is compatible, and then a let's say a interpretive meaning is incompatible, obviously we'll reject it. It doesn't matter about whether it's apparent or not. It's about whether or not it leads to Allah being like contingent.
Okay, my question to you is very simple. Do you
Yeah.
know what when they say irtifa, do you know what irtifa means?
So yes. So in its literal meaning, it means elevation.
No, in this meaning here.
Okay.
You do tafweed of it. Earlier you said we don't know what irtifa means. In your opening statement you said we do tafweed of it.
No, I said there's two ways you can do this. You can do tafweed or tawil.
But you
right?
do tafweed.
I don't do tawil. I do tawil.
You just switched your position. The debate topic.
I never.
The debate topic is.
No, because I don't. I believe the Salaf did. I believe the Salaf for the most part did tafweed.
So you don't agree with the Salaf then?
It's not about agreeing. It's about method, right? So we develop stuff, right? And they did, and we say the roots. So the roots of ta'wil are there, okay? And you can see sometimes, and look. So the Salaf, they do ta'wil at times when they have to. Abu Hanifa does ta'wil, okay, at times, okay.
Okay, no problem. Fine. So you believe the Salaf do both? Okay.
For the most part,
Uh-huh.
as Mullah Ali Qari says, the
Uh-huh.
majority of the time, the Salaf did tafweed and something like ta'wil. And for the most part, the Khalaf did ta'wil and something like tafweed.
How can this be the case when Imam Ahmad said the general rule is that we take it upon the apparent? Meaning most of the time you take the apparent instead of tafwil.
Yeah, that's what I say. Most we take the parent,
But
right?
no,
Because most things are not ambiguous. Most things are not ambiguous.
Open your slideshow again. In the slideshow,
Yeah.
you brought the Ibn Taymiyyah quote. Ibn Taymiyyah says we take it upon the apparent, and you said that's tashbih.
I don't know. I have Ibn Uthaymeen.
Ibn Taymiyyah. You brought Ibn Taymiyyah's quote in your slideshow.
I said the madhab of the Taymiyyah. So
Yeah.
you believe Ibn Uthaymeen is on Ibn Taymiyyah's madhab.
Yeah,
But I'm quoting Ibn Uthaymeen. I'm not quoting Ibn Taymiyyah.
No problem.
Yeah.
So now I'm telling you, Ibn Taymiyyah or Ibn Uthaymeen or any one of our scholars, they say we take it upon the apparent meaning. You said that's tashbih in your slideshow. Bring the slideshow up and let's read it again. You said this is tashbih, correct?
So in
Okay.
regards, this is in the context of ambiguous verses. This is
Okay,
not
so
in the
Ahmed-
context of
okay.
general.
Is-
Because
are
in the
the-
general, we
is-
we
are
affirm
the
the apparent
attributes-
meaning of power.
Are the attributes ambiguous or not ambiguous?
Look, so again, it's not a monolith, right? So for example, power, no one says it's ambiguous. Okay.
I'm asking you about the general rule for the attributes. Are they?
In general, the attributes are not ambiguous.
They're not ambiguous in general.
In general, no.
Okay, so is the hand and the foot and the shin and the face and the ulu and the istiwa, all of this is apparent meaning?
No, because that's not that's okay. We have so many discussions here. First of all, what sifat are we talking about?
We're speaking about the sifat that you don't affirm. Do you agree with Ash'ari that there's only seven attributes and the rest of the sifat are all subtopics?
So first of all, that there's a distinction between materials and Ash'aris about that's in discussion of sifat that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you believe in 7 of them, right?
No, materials also believe in taqween.
Okay, how much in total?
Okay, so we have haya, qudra, ilm,
Okay.
kalam, basar, sama,
Wait, there's a mistake.
taqween.
Did you say ilm and ilm and sama?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
according to the Maturidi, what's the difference between ilm and sama? Hearing and knowing.
Okay, that's not relevant to discussion.
It
But
is for tafweed. For tafweed, it is relevant because
Okay.
if you don't know the difference
Yeah.
between them.
So just as we talked about, I already explained thing actually to you. It's perception, right?
Yeah, okay, perfect. So there's no real distinction. It's just perception.
No. Knowledge and perception are two different things. Knowledge is me knowing facts, right? So Allah's ilm is knowing. We say that Allah knows every true statement, every true proposition. Allah knows.
Okay.
So anything coherent, Allah knows about it. Right? So anything
I
like
accept. No
rationally.
problem. Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, so me knowing, for example, red exists is different from me experiencing the color red. Me perceiving it, right? That's an experiential.
Okay. So does Allah experience things in reality? Like when I'm speaking now, does Allah hear me right now?
Allah hears you. If you want to get in time again, you're going off topic because we're talking about that's a different discussion, right? If Allah is
Tamam, it
untrue.
has to do with Tafweed. That's why I brought it up. But no problem. We'll keep going. That's fine.
No, because look, we affirm again. If you want to, we affirm Allah hears, and that means He perceives sounds, right? And the kayfiyah of that, we don't go like. There's no kayfiyah. So you're not
There's,
saying how He hears.
how
Does
can
He
you
hear
say,
in time
wait,
or
how
anything
can you
like?
say there's no kayfiyah? And Ibn Majashun from the Salaf, he said nobody knows Allah's kayf except for Allah. You
Yeah.
said
So
Allah.
okay, great. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So when you see from the Salaf, sometimes they say no kayfiyah. Oh, sorry, there is kayfiyah,
Uh-huh.
right? These terms are being are like there's an istilahi thing, right? So when we say there's no kayfiyah, we mean there's no modality, right?
Okay.
But sometimes, and you can see this, sometimes they'll say kayfiyah and by the Salaf they'll say it. What they mean is the mahi of it, as in the quiddity or the essence of it.
Say the word in Arabic.
Mahiyah.
Mim a or mim ha? What do you say?
Mahiyah.
Oh, ma hiya. Oh, what this attribute actually is. No. This doesn't work here. You know why? Because because the mahiyya applies to everything. It applies to Allah in the creation. But Ibn Majun in the full quote, he says that we were commanded to look at the creation and ponder upon the creation and look at how the creation is. We say kaif about the creation. But he said you can't say kaif or how about the one who is uncreated and he always existed, because nobody knows how he is except for him. This can't be mahiyya, because mahiyya applies to the created things and the uncreated things. But the kayfiyya, the modality, only applies to the uncreated one in terms of no
Yeah.
one
Do
knows.
you think we know God's essence?
We know about it, yes.
No, do we know it? Do we know like
We know the meaning. Yeah, we know the meaning.
no, do we okay, how would I
We
say
don't know the
this?
kayfiyya. If you're asking the kayfiyya, Ibn Majashun says nobody
No,
knows the
no,
kayfiyya.
I'm not saying okay. Do we know
The meaning? Yes. Do we know the kayfiyya? No.
I'm not talking about the meaning. No.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the appropriate words.
Okay.
Well, actually, I know you're gonna say no, but okay, so I'll rephrase it. We believe, because you're not gonna agree with this, but
Okay.
because I'm trying to say how this fits into. We
I brought you
believe
the
that
salaf though. You can't say.
yeah. I'm look. So one, we believe that you can't like God's essence, right?
Mhm.
It's we can't comprehend it, right? So
We
it's
agree because we don't know the kayfiyya. I agree.
yeah. And as Imam Malik, no, it's not that we don't know, it's incomprehensible. So as Imam Malik says, right? If I have the quote, let me find the
والكيف
quote.
عنه مرفوع.
Yes, it's
Okay,
incomprehensible.
what's the quote?
I have it somewhere. 1 second.
Okay, read it in Arabic, inshallah, or English.
Yeah.
Both.
No, I have it, Eric. Just 1 second. I had it right here. Okay. الاستواء غير مجهول والكيفية غير معقول.
You want to use this one? Okay, yeah, that means the kayfiyya is not comprehensible. Nobody can know the kayfiyya. You
Yes,
cannot
and that's
comprehend.
yes. So we can comprehend God's essence, right?
I agree with this. Nobody ever disagreed. But my question is very simple. Ibn Majashun, and I'm going to send the quote in English and Arabic in the WhatsApp.
So what he means, how we would read it, is that kayfiyah here means mahiyah.
No, it can't be. It can't be, because he's saying mahiyya. So Ibn Majashun, okay.
We can comprehend the mahiyah of created things.
Okay,
we can comprehend the mahiyah of Allah.
One second. Are you allowed to say mahiyya about the created things?
Created things have essences, of course.
Okay, are you allowed to ask about the mahiyya of Allah?
What do you mean by that?
Can I ask ask about Allah? Does Allah have knowledge? Does Allah have hearing? Does Allah have hands? Am I allowed to ask these questions?
You can ask those questions, yes.
Okay. Ibn Majashun says you can't ask those questions if this is on your understanding. So clearly he's speaking about the modality, because otherwise you're not allowed to ask, does Allah have hearing? Does Allah have seeing? Does Allah have knowledge? Otherwise you can't ask those questions. So it must be about the modality. So
can you send the quote?
Yeah. 1 second. Let me send it. Forward. WhatsApp. Create the discussions. Here it is. So there you go. We can read it in Arabic. And the part that I was quoting is from the 4th line down. He says, إنما أمرنا بالنظر والتفكير فيما خلق وإنما يقال كيف لمن لم يكن مرة ثم كان، أما من لا يحول ولا يزول ولم يزل وليس له مثل فإنه لا يعلم كيفه إلا هو. He says that we were only commanded to observe and reflect upon what was created. The question how applies to that which was once non-existent and then came into existence. But for the one who neither changes nor disappears nor has no equal, no one knows how he is except himself. So Allah, you said He only knows true propositions. So if Allah knows how He is and He has a modality, He has a howness. How do you respond to this? And this is Ibn Majashun. He died.
Can you give me a second to just read it?
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So okay. So first thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were saying. Can you? Okay. So I don't see how this refutes us saying that the kayf is mahiyya.
Okay. The Mahi you said is the essence. We affirmed and we agreed that we can ask about the essence of Allah. So we can ask because Allah's hearing and His seeing and His knowledge is one
Well,
of the
okay. So that's okay. So I should clarify. If by that you mean does Allah have attributes, I wouldn't consider that delving into the essence.
So wait, are the attributes a part of Allah's essence?
They are part of Allah's essence. Yeah.
Okay, so when you ask about the attributes, you're asking about the essence.
No. So it's more you're asking like like Ferun says to Musa, like what is Allah, right? Like
Yeah, and
what is your God?
and according to At-Tabari, he told him Allah is above the heavens. Yeah.
Yes. Why is Musa saying that though? Because the statement, like you're trying to perceive God. That's a ridiculous thing, right?
No. One second,
Yes,
one second. No, this proves my point. Barakallah feek. Wallahi, I never thought of this. Such a good argument. When Fir'aun told him asked about Allah, how did Musa answer? By telling him about Allah's attributes. So you're allowed to ask Allah about Allah's attributes. Thank you. Yes.
No. Look. Yes, you can ask about Allah's attributes. No one's denying that.
Yeah.
The question. What Musa is doing here is he's like Ferun's question is so stupid because like Musa. So say Musa, right? What he's doing here, right? He's talking about the attribute. What Ferun wants to know, which is which you can't ask, right?
I don't understand what you're saying. Wallahi, I don't understand what you're saying right now.
Okay. Can you define? Okay.
It's just simple. Let's restart. Let's go back to square one.
Yes.
My question to you is this: Ibn Majishun, he says nobody knows Allah's howness except for Allah. Does Allah have a howness?
So it's not about it's by kayfiyya. If he means mahiyya, then it's fine.
Okay. First of all, can you explain to me why you're not allowed to ask about the essence of Allah?
So if by that you mean like engaging in theology, as in like what are Allah's attributes, right? Then that's fine.
But you're asking.
But if you're asking what is Allah's essence, what is it, right? If you're trying to comprehend that, if you're trying to imagine that, comprehend that, right? Then that's impermissible, obviously.
Okay, 1 second. When the Salaf they say that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has a kayf, you're not allowed to ask about the kayf.
So only a few of them.
Imam Malik, when he's speaking about kayfiyya, he says وَالسُّؤَالُ عَنْهُ بِدْعَةٌ, correct?
Yes.
Okay. السؤال عن الكيفية is bid'ah. Why are you saying you're allowed to ask only about the attributes? Now, where did you get that takhsis from?
No, it's not only about if so one is like, for example, is perception, and one is saying what, like you're just explaining our theology, right? So for example, for example, Imam Malik, just as us, says istawa ma'lum, right? So istawa is in the Quran, right?
What's ma'lum? What is that?
Ma'lum.
Yeah, what's ma'lum? يعني, what is it?
It's known. It's known.
What's known?
Istawa. The word istawa.
Okay, so what's known about it?
The word is known.
But what's known? What about is known?
The word is known. I just told you. Left is known.
Only the letters. That's it.
Yes, and that's how the Maliki method understood this.
No, that's not true. I'll bring you Ibn Abdul Barr what he says, and that's not what Ibn Abdul Barr says.
Qadi Abdul Wahhab. Right.
1 second. Is Ibn Abdul Barr Maliki? Yes or no? Ibn Abdul Barr, he's Maliki. He's one of the biggest Malikiyya. He says istiwa ma'lum ay al-ma'na. But that's not the point. My question to you is this. If istiwa is known, I'm asking you what is known. You're saying the letters are known. So if only the letters are known, how come Bukhari knew istiwa is irtifa'? That means he knows more than Imam Malik.
Wait, repeat that.
You said only the letters are known for istiwa. Bukhari knew that istiwa is irtifa'. He knew more than just the letters because he knew the word irtifa'. So
No. He's giving. So he's doing what he's giving possible meanings. Right?
No, he's not giving a possible meaning. He gave a qat'i meaning. He said it means this. He says it means irtifa'. He says Mujahid or Ibn Ali said it means irtifa'. This is not a possible meaning. This is a قطعي meaning. He's giving you قطعي الدلالة كلام.
Did someone Bukhari wrote?
What? Yeah, I sent the scan of Bukhari already.
Where is that? Is it the top one? The
I'll,
one
I'll,
above it?
I'll,
Sahih Bukhari?
I'll send it to you.
Okay, كل أرشي على ما ارتفاع.
One second, here it is. There you go.
Again, we don't have an issue with the word ارتفاع.
Okay, one second. I just want to send it to you. Okay, I sent it and I sent the translation with it. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, Ibn Aliyah, he says, استوى إلى السماء ارتفع. He rose above the throne. The ayah, he said it means elevated. You said Imam Malik said استواء معلوم means you only know the letters. If you only know the meaning of the letters, how did Bukhari know it means, and Ibn Aliyah know it means to ascend, elevate? So did they know more than Imam Malik? Imam Malik was jahil, or what was going on?
No, it's not that.
Okay, so how did Bukhari know more than Imam Malik?
It's not that he didn't know. It's that Imam Malik's idea or his method was that we don't go beyond what the text is.
But Bukhari in his Khalq Af'al al-Ibad, he says he has the same methodology as Imam Malik. So if they have the same methodology, Imam Malik must have known what Bukhari knew. This
yeah,
means,
so it's not about him not having, it's just them not talking about it, right?
One second. When I'll give you another chance. When Imam Malik said istiwa is known, what was known?
Again, the left was known.
Okay, so
as Qadi Abdul Wahhab and Imam al-Qurtubi both.
Okay, Qurtubi. Okay, don't use Qurtubi. Qurtubi says
Qadi Abdul Wahhab.
Okay, the Qurtubi believes Allah is in a jiha according to the Salaf. Do you agree with him?
You have to show me that.
Okay, I sent in the VC chat already. Sorry, in the WhatsApp. Qurtubi, he says that, and we debated this scan like last week, where it says لا يقولون بنفي الجهة. They do not say the negation.
This. Okay, this is perfect. Yeah. So if you look at what he says that they did not say we negate jihad. He doesn't say they do affirm jihad. He just says they don't talk about it.
No.
That's exactly what it says.
No.
Nafi. So
wait.
لا يقولون ب. So okay, I may not be an expert in Arabic, but when there's a brother, he's giving a quote. So he's saying they did not say, quote, we negate jihad.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they affirm it. That's as follows. A non-sequitur.
Okay. The next line, you know what it says? بل كانوا ينطقون بها. Rather, they used to say jihad. They used to ينطقون. They used to believe this. The next line literally says they didn't. So he says they didn't negate it. He says rather they affirmed it. That's
no. بذلك. Look. So bring it again.
Yeah. Let's get the quote. One second. And we have the 1 second. قرطبي. Where is it? Just give me a quick second, okay? قرطبي. Here it is. Thank you for the brother who sent it to me. I was looking for it. Okay, so here it is with the translation. So Qurtubi, he says in his tafsir, the Salaf al-Salih did not deny jihad, but all of them affirmed it for Allah. What? All of them affirmed it to Allah, as his book mentioned and his messengers informed, and none of the righteous Salaf denied that Allah rose above his throne in a real sense, haqiqatan, and that He, Allah, specified the throne for that because of the greatness of the creation. However, we are unaware, we don't know the kayfiyah, the modality of the rising, for its reality is unknown. Imam Malik, look at this. Imam Malik said istiwa is known, and he says in language, meaning is understood linguistically.
Okay. So let's go the first sentence again.
Okay, let's finish the thing.
Wait.
While al-kayf is unknown and questioning about it is a bid'ah. And Salama
let's go back to the first, right? So it says لا يقولون بنفي, right? So they did not quote. So it says لا يقولون بنفي الجهاد, right? So it says, and they did not say, quote, we negate jihad.
Correct.
Right? And then ولا, right? And then ينتقون.
Okay. ولا ينطقون بذلك, yeah, and they do not even say that.
And what?
And they don't say that.
Okay.
So he says that لا يقولون بنفي الجهاد ولا ينطقون بذلك. He said they do not say the negation of jihad, and they do not even pronounce those words. يعني pronounce the negation. And then read the next line. Read the next words. What does it say? بل نطقوا هم والكافة بإثباتها. Rather, they and all of them affirmed it. إثباتها لله تعالى, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There you go. This is Qurtubi.
No. Wait. No. Continue.
And by
So
the
it's a sentence. So let's read the sentence,
but quickly,
right?
just 1 second. You lied about Qurtubi on purpose or by accident. But he said Imam Malik said istiwa is known in meaning. You said he said not only the lafz, not meaning. So why did you say Qurtubi said that when he didn't?
He does. You can. I don't. Okay. Let
I
me.
have the scan is in front of us here, right there. He says Imam Malik
No,
said.
no, 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 no. Okay. If you want, it's gonna take a while. I have to get the scan.
Okay. We have the scan in front of us. I sent it to you
No, no, no,
already.
no, no. It's a different. So I have my own scan. It's
Uh-huh.
gonna take a while because I didn't.
So Qurtubi is contradicting himself then, if this is
No,
true.
he's not. He's not because you're reading. You're reading. Look. So let's read the sentence again.
Okay,
Bil.
okay.
Okay. So where does the sentence? It says bil natuhu hum.
بل نطقوهم
Yeah.
والكافة بإثباتها لله تعالى.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But it doesn't say. Why are you stopping there? Continues.
Okay, كما نطق كتابه وأخبرت رسله. The same way Allah told us and the messenger told us. ولم ينكر أحد من السلف الصالح أنه استوى على عرشه حقيقة. And none of the Salaf negated that Allah did istiwa in حقيقة, in reality, upon the
Yeah. Yeah.
appearance.
So what are they doing? Ithbaat on?
Uh,
It says what's in the book, right?
okay, so it says بإثباتها. There's a ha alif here. This ha is ha of dhamir. The dhamir must go to what comes before it. It can never go to what comes after it. So what comes before the ha, other than jiha? Nothing. So it has to be the jiha. So therefore, according to Qurtubi, the Salaf all affirm jiha for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm upon the methodology of the Salaf by affirming jiha, and you're upon
No,
the
you're not. Because okay, first of all, even okay, I know he's not saying that, right?
What
I
do
have
you mean?
to
Wallahi, that's what it says. What do you mean you know it's now?
no, because okay, so you're not gonna take this right now, but you're gonna have to give me a second, right?
I'll give you 10 seconds, okay, no problem. But
No,
this is
I
what
don't. Look, 1 second.
what do you mean that's not what he says? It's right in front of
Okay,
us.
if you want, I can literally show you where he says, right? Um, he talks about Imam Malik's statement. That's gonna take a while.
Okay, forget Imam Malik's statement. Let's stick to the statement of
Okay,
Qurtubi, where he says all of the
yeah,
Salaf affirm jiha. He said all the Salaf affirm jiha. What do you do with this?
yeah. 1 second.
Okay, we had somebody in the chat. He said to confirm the translation, Qabas said was accurate.
Okay, but I wanted to point one thing out. Last time we talked about this, you're now changing. Do you recognize you're changing what you talked about last time?
Never. I never changed anything.
No, because last time we talked about this, you were saying that you made it sound like they're doing double negative, as in they're affirming. So last time we talked about this, your argument was, and I remember this, right? You were saying that the Salaf um they did not negate. Okay.
Yeah, that's what Qurtubi said. Yeah,
Yeah.
rather they affirmed it.
No, no, no. So you see now you're going. So 1 second. I'm just telling you, you're just gonna have to give me a while, but I have literally Qurtubi's scan where he explains and he clearly says,
Bro, okay, 1 second. You can bring me a million scans. And this one in front of our face, what does it say? And we can get Arabs to translate it. Like, bring any Arab, and they'll translate it for us. I translated it. Brother Abdullah translated it. Ahmed translated it. We can get other brothers in the chat to translate it too for you if you don't want to accept my translation. You give us your own translation. You didn't even give me an alternative. So what else can this possibly mean? And by the way, Qurtubi is Ash'ari. If we go to his book, Kitab al-Asma' al-Husna, and we bring what he says, he reiterates the same thing. And if you want, I can get that quote too, no problem.
Okay, so here's my question. Even like this is why it doesn't make sense because how can Qurtubi literally in the same line say that they didn't explicitly affirm it and then say they believed it?
No, he didn't say they didn't affirm it. That's your ta'wil or tafweed or whatever it says. The quote was clear. He says that none of the Salaf denied jihad, and they didn't even pronounce the negation of jihad. Rather, all of them affirmed it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The quote was clear. That's what it says. Bring me any Arab and we can discuss this. Are you there, Sam?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to go over this, right? So
And by the way, do you believe that there's words in the Quran we don't know the meaning of?
yeah, of course.
Like words that nobody knows the meaning of.
I wouldn't say no one, but I would say that we don't know.
Oh, so every word in the Quran, there's at least one person who knows what they mean. Is that your position?
Wait, wait 1 second. My slides kind of like broke out.
You say that only Allah knows the meaning, though. So how can somebody know the meaning if only Allah knows the meaning?
Yeah, so Allah knows meaning. I'll say that.
Other than Allah, is there things that only Allah knows? That humans know as well?
Sorry?
Are there words that other than Allah, that other than Allah know? Yani every word in the Quran, is there a human that knows what it means?
Okay, I'll make it very clear. There are words in the Quran that the Salaf did not know.
Okay, and nobody knows them.
The Salaf did not know.
Nobody, not Salaf, nobody, no human.
I'm not gonna say on that.
What do you mean?
I'm just gonna say the Salaf did not know.
Okay, is Ibn
And
Abbas?
that's what.
Is Ibn Abbas from the Salaf?
Yes.
Okay, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he said he knew every single word in the Quran except for 4, and the 4 words had nothing to do with attributes. I can get them for you. But now, how can you say only Allah knows them, but Ibn Abbas also knew them? Did he share like this?
Okay. So Ibn Qudama says, so here's the thing, right? So you're gonna. So I want to look at the method differences, right?
Okay, I brought Ibn Abbas. Forget Ibn Qudama. Unless he's
wait. No. What do you mean? Forget? This is my question. So this is my question to you. You've asked a bunch of questions. I want to ask this.
Yeah.
Do you think that who do you think knows more about the hadith and the Sahaba, right? And the
Ibn
Quran?
Qudama doesn't comment on this hadith and what you're going to bring.
No. I'm not saying that. Do you think that you know more statements by the Sahaba or the ulama?
Of course. My scholars know more than me, but your scholars, Allahu A'lam. We have to verify this. And I don't know what you want me to say.
Okay. So do you think Ibn Qudama here? Do you think Ibn Qudama is ignorant on the statements of the Salaf?
Ibn Qudama says the Ash'ar Zanadiqa. Do you agree with him?
No, I'm asking you. You see how you're dodging. So
I'm not.
No, you're not. I didn't ask that. Look what I asked. I said, do you think Ibn Qudama is ignorant about what the Salaf believed?
No, he's not.
Okay, so Ibn Qudama says, and they the Salaf knew that the one who spoke them was truthful without a doubt. So they believed in him, and they did not know the reality of their meanings.
Okay. Do you read just one line like the Christians do of the Bible and ignore everything else? Is this from Nu'mat al-I'tiqad?
No, this is from another one of his works. I did not have time to. Oh, wait. Why do I have permission to admit him?
Okay. What?
No, so Abdul, when he entered, it kind of struck me.
But okay. By the way, no problem. Let's go to the Ibn Qudama thing. He says that we don't know حقيقة المعنى. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. All the Salafis agree. We don't know حقيقة المعنى. What's the point now? You know what حقيقة المعنى means? It's a
Are you gonna say it's a cave? Are you gonna say it's a cave?
No. It's the meaning, but الجامع المانع. And if somebody comes to me right now and says, Ya Qabas, give me the meaning, which is جامع المانع, the perfect textbook definition that you can't add or take away from, that fully describes Allah in terms of meaning, the reality of the meaning. I will say I can't do that because I don't know how. I can only give the meanings that were taught.
Wait, can you repeat that?
The معنى the تعريف الجامع المانع is the تعريف which is complete and whole and perfect. تمام? For example, if somebody says what is a book, and they give you a complete meaning, they say the book is that which is the papers between 2 covers and it has this and this and that, and they give you the complete meaning, a perfect definition. We can't do that for Allah.
Okay, great. Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect.
Let me finish my answer. Let me finish my answer and you can go. So we can't give the complete meaning for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we can give the meaning based off the Arabic language from what we know from the Quran and the Sunnah and the aqwal of the Sahaba and the Prophets. Right? This is what we can do, and this is what we do. So when we say istiwa means irtifa', we say what Imam Malik said, al-istiwa ma'lum, meaning the meaning of it is known, as a Qurtubi he mentions in the quote that we sent. And more than that, Bukhari gave other meanings other than the lafz. So unless Bukhari knew more than Imam Malik, or there's no other answer, right? And they were upon the same methodology.
Okay, so I just want to. This is a bit going back to another thing. You were talking about like mahia, right? And we don't talk about Allah. So that's exactly what I'm saying, right? We can explain completely, right? Describe, like for example, book, right? We can't do that at all. So that's just the one point I want to give. That was an interesting thing that you exactly explained.
But that's a straw man, with all due respect.
It's not. It's not.
No. I'll explain why it's a straw man, because it means you misunderstand my position, so I'll clarify more. When you give the ma'na al-jami' al-mana', that necessitates kayfiyah, by the way. Like there's no way around that. Why? Because if I want to define something, like example, if I define to me a cup, you will define the cup and you will go through part of your definition. Will go into the kayfiyah. You
No,
have
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
go ahead, define to me a cup without
Okay,
kayfiyah.
so what you need for definition is you need
Wait, just define to me a cup without going into the kayfiyah, please. In the Arabic language,
no,
I'm actually in
no,
English.
no. Wait,
Define to
wait,
me.
wait, 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 wait.
Okay, I'm
I'm gonna
waiting.
tell. Okay, to define things, you need two things. You need a genus and a differential, right? For example,
Can you give me the Arabic?
okay, no, I can't. Sorry, I don't know
I
that.
could define the terms then, please.
Okay. So for example, human. Let's say I want to define a human.
Mhm.
Okay. So what is the genus of human? It's an animal, right? We're animals. We belong to the genus of animals.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's half of it, and the other half is we're differentiating us as a species from other species of the same genus. Okay. And what's the differentiation? It's our rational capabilities. Okay.
Okay. Can you give me the definition of a cup?
I don't have it on top of my head.
Make one. It's not very difficult. The point that I'm making is if you want to give me a definition of a cup, or you want to give me a definition of water. For example, water is the example that the scholars of language use. You can't give a definition of water without going to kayfiyah. You can't give a definition of a cup without going to kayfiyah. If you want the meaning, which is jami'un mana.
Okay, a cup, a
Wait.
small bowl-shaped container for drinking.
Okay, that's a plate. That's a bowl. What's the issue?
Sorry?
And wait, did you just say small shaped bowl? Wait, what did you say?
A small bowl-shaped container.
Okay, that's a plate or a bowl. That's a bowl. What's the difference between that
It's not
and
a plate.
If when I want to drink soup,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
wait,
So
one
it's
second,
about
Habibi,
yeah,
Habibi.
yeah.
Wait, you said that's used for drinking. That's the kayfiyah. That's what the how. What is that? What is that for?
Sorry?
Okay, couple things. First of all, if I have a plate, a bowl of soup, what's the difference between that bowl and the cup with the definition you give?
Yeah, so it's what do you call it? It's called like the purpose of it, right? So if I am using, for example,
The purpose. So we can
I'll
define.
give for example. I'll give for
Okay.
example. If you look at like for example Chinese like teacups, sometimes you'll mistake them as like a bowl, but they're not. Okay. So really it's our purpose with it. If we intend with it to drink from it, then it's a cup.
Okay, so what was the full definition again? Can you repeat it one more time?
For a cup?
Yeah.
Why are we even going cup though? I
No,
mentioned
because you gave the kayfiyah in your definition there. That's the function. You said the bull shape. The bull shape is the kayfiyah. That's what we're arguing about. When you ask me about the attributes of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, if you tell me how
but
does
that's for
Allah,
cup. I mentioned humans, right?
wait,
I mentioned
no,
humans.
one second. The point I'm making is you can't define the word cup with a ta'rif mani' jami' without going into the kayfiyah. That's what I'm trying to argue. That's haqiqat al-ma'na.
No, I mentioned. Wait.
You gave me the kayfiyah, akhi. I told you give me the definition of cup without kayfiyah, and you just gave me the kayfiyah. The bowl shape means that's the kayfiyah of the cup. That's how the cup exists. That's how the cup is.
No. For example,
How is that not the modality? Wait. So the shape of something is not the modality.
Okay, let's say nuzul. That's a good example. Nuzul, right? So if I say Zaid went down, right? He did nuzul, right? Now the kafir would be the meaning is he went down, right? We agree on down, right?
Yeah, he descended.
Okay, he descended, yeah, descending, right? Let's say in altitude because he's a human, right? Okay.
Are you speaking about Allah?
Now the kafir would be he walked down the stairs, or I don't know, he fell off the second like the balcony and he fell down. That's the kafir, right?
One
So
second.
one is walking and one is falling.
The kayfiyah is you're giving the kayfiyah to something which is not what I'm asking about, because there's different types of sifat. There's sifat a'yan and sifat khabar. Nuzul is a sifat khabar. I'm speaking about the sifat la'yan. That's what I'm speaking
I'm
about.
not talking about the sifat of nuzul. I'm just saying that we can affirm.
No, 1 second. In the Arabic language, there's two types of words: words of a'yan and words of khabar. Of course, nuzul, you can define it differently with the kayfiyah than things of a'yan. I'm telling you, kalimat a'yan, like cup, water, tree. You can't give a definition of tree without going into the kayfiyah. This is my point. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his attributes, if you want to speak about nuzul and mercy and knowledge, that's one type. But there's a different types of sifat, which are sifat a'yan. So I'm telling you, anything which is a'yan, you have to go into the kayfiyah to give the definition. For example, Allah's hand. If someone wants to describe how Allah's hand looks, we say you've gone into the kayfiyah. When I told you to describe me a cup, you described how it looks, which means that's the kayfiyah. So I'm telling you, when Ibn Qudamah says haqiqatul ma'na, nobody knows it, it means you can't give a jami' ma'na which goes through to the kayfiyah. That's what we believe, and that's haqiqatul ma'na which nobody knows. Where's the issue with that? I'm crystal clear.
Wait. Okay, sorry. Shoka distracted me. Sorry.
If you want, by the way, Rowan can join you and it can be a 2v1. I don't mind. He can help you out.
No, I want to do something. So I just realized
Mhm.
that every single question so far has been by you. So can I now have the return? Can I now ask you questions?
No problem, but this question was about from you. Ibn Qudam is حقيقة المعنى. I was just replying to your question, but that's fine. Go ahead, ask me a question.
Okay. You accept Ibn Taymiyyah, right?
Yeah, رضي الله
Okay. Okay. So you believe Allah is spatially above the throne?
What do you mean by spatially? Define it, please.
You use spatially, right?
What is it? Define it, please.
Okay, can you affirm it? You affirm makan.
I don't affirm the word spatially if you're not going to define it.
Okay, makan. Do you believe in makan?
Yeah, I believe in makan for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay. And you affirm jihad?
As the Qurtubi said, the Salaf did, yes.
Okay, and ulu?
What?
Ulu.
Yeah, I affirm ulu.
Okay. And I have a question. So
Uh-huh.
Allah is let's say bimakan.
Yes, Allah
right?
Allah fi makan, yes.
No, not like with spatially, right? Makani, right? He is
I don't understand the question.
above. Okay. Do you believe that makan means space in English?
Makan means place.
Yeah, okay, place.
Okay.
And okay, do you affirm spatial relationship between Allah and the creation?
Define.
Okay, so
Or you can use the Arabic if you want. That's easier.
all right.
Up to you. Define
Allah is
بائن. Do you mean بائن من خلقه? Separate, distinct from the creation?
No. I mean Allah هو let's say على المخلوق.
هو فوق خلقه, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, and he's folk and he's above you, and you believe folk is above, right?
Of course.
Okay. So Allah is above everything that exists.
Allah is above me and you and everything that's created, yes.
Okay. Allah has a yet, right?
Yep.
And he has two yets. You believe he has two yets, right?
يداه السلطتان, yes.
Okay. And you believe that, again, you believe this aboveness is spatial, not physical, but spatial.
I don't know what spatial means because you didn't define it for me yet.
Okay. So let's say
you've asked me about 10 questions so far, but keep going. No
yeah.
problem.
So he occupied. Do you believe Allah occupies space? Occupied makan.
What do you mean by that? If you mean, I'll make it simple. If you're saying is Allah above the throne, على عرشه بائن من خلقه with a makan, I say yes, he is, no doubt.
Okay. Okay.
Is Allah?
Yeah.
Let me be more clear. Is Allah in a certain place and not in other places? For example, Allah is above the throne and He's not inside my room. I say yes, but Allah's knowledge.
Perfect,
but Allah's knowledge, as Imam Malik says, is everywhere. Yes.
Okay. I'm not on knowledge. So okay. Let's do this. So Allah is above the throne, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Mecca. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Allah's face? You believe He has a face, right?
Of course, Allah says in the Quran, "يبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام."
And you believe Allah has a shin, right?
يوم يكشف عن ساق, yes.
Okay. So, and both of those two things are above the throne as well, right?
I'll make it easy for you. Ibn Abu Dawood, the one who wrote the Sunan, he said Allah فوق العرش بصفاته. Allah is above the throne with His صفات.
Okay, so his shin and his face are above the throne, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question. So, do you believe that Allah's face is higher than Allah's shin?
Okay, two things or three things actually. First of all, the debate is upon the aqidah of the Salaf, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want to know your aqidah. So I want to better understand your aqidah and see
no
compare
problem.
it to Salaf.
No problem. Where did the Salaf speak about this masala?
No, so I'm asking. I'm now interrogating your aqidah, right? So you asked me a bunch of questions that I like are not even really that relevant to it. For example, you asked me the difference between seeing and knowledge, right? So now I'm gonna.
That's related because the Salaf asked this question. I can bring you.
No. I want to understand. So I want to understand what you mean by ulu, right? So you believe spatial. I want to understand. Is Allah's face higher than Allah's shin?
I will answer your question, no problem. But after I answer this question, will you bring me where the Salaf asked this?
No, because I want to get at other stuff. So I'm interrogating you now. So you interrogate me. Now I want to interrogate you. So
I didn't interrogate you, by the way. I said I'll answer the question, no problem. I don't have an issue answering.
Okay. So can you answer it?
1 second. Okay, I'll answer. Well, I promise you I'll answer you. I promise.
Okay.
And the Shawkat can write it down, and Ahmed can write it down. If I don't answer, they'll tell me to answer. My question to you is: once I answer, will you bring me where the Salaf spoke about this?
I don't believe they spoke about this.
Okay, so why do I have to speak about the Salaf thing? The Salaf didn't speak about?
Because I want to establish, I want to see if this is
this
your
is
views are in line with
okay.
what the Salaf believed.
Ibn Majashun, he said, وَلَا يَعْلَمُ كَيْفَ هُ إِلَّا هُ. Nobody knows how Allah is except him. So now when you
Okay.
ask me, well, let me answer your question. So when you ask me, is his face above his foot or this and this? I tell you that's the howness of how Allah is. Is Allah's foot above his face? Is his face above his foot? I didn't see Allah. How am I supposed to know? So
Okay.
this is the kayfiyah. So I don't know.
Do you believe Ithbaat al-Kayfiyya is tashbih?
إثبات الكيفية.
If you believe, so you believe,
Well,
if I say you believe this is kayfiyya. So if I say Allah's face is above Allah's throne. Sorry, Allah's face is higher above Allah's throne than Allah's shin. You believe that's now I'm engaging in Ithbat al-Kayfiyya, right? And I'm doing tashbih.
repeat the question.
Okay, if I say Allah's shin is above the throne and Allah's face is above the shin and above the throne, so it's higher. It's even higher above.
Uh, I didn't see Allah. How am I? You're asking about the kayfiyah.
No, do you believe this? If I said this, if I believe this is tashbih.
If you believe Allah's saq is above his foot,
Yeah, his face is above his shin.
if you say that, it's not tashbih, no.
It's not tashbih.
No, but this is you're delving into kayfiyah.
It's not tashbih to say that.
It's not tashbih to say Allah's face is above his foot. No, but this is delving into kayfiyah.
Okay, so how is this not okay? So let me get this straight. So
1 second. So for
yeah,
us to understand what tashbih is, let's go to the definition of tashbih. Don't you think that's a good idea?
yeah, I brought you my
Okay.
definition, and I don't think you agree. So let's see your definition.
My definition, because who cares about what I have to say? Let's go back to
Yeah,
the
I
sentence.
mean that's not my definition either. I brought this. Yeah.
I understand. We're gonna go to a Tirmidhi. Do you take from a Tirmidhi?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, a Tirmidhi in his Sunan under the Hadith of Nuzul. I'm not gonna read the whole quote. I'm gonna copy it here, copy text, and I'm gonna send it in the WhatsApp, and then we can read it together. But I'm not gonna read the whole thing. You can read the whole thing if you want. He says, where is the cave? Okay, he says these narrations are proven and we believe in them, and we don't imagine how it is, and we don't say how does he descend. And this was what it was narrated by Imam Malik, Sufyan ibn Uyayna, Abdullah ibn Mubarak, and they said we go by these ahadith without the howness. And this is what the people of knowledge from Ahl al-Sunnah said. As for the Jahmiyyah, they said they rejected these narrations and said there's tashbih in them. Although Allah has mentioned in His book more than one place the hand, the hearing, the seeing, but they, the Jahmiyyah, they changed the meanings and explained it differently to how the knowledge explained it. They said Allah didn't create Adam with His hand, rather hand here means power.
Okay, you didn't answer my question.
1 second, 1 second. The quote is not done in Arabic. I'm gonna translate the Arabic too, and I'll keep going, and I'll write down the translation too. He says, he says, he says, وأما إذا قال كما قال الله تعالى يد أو سمع. Or sorry, وقال إسحاق ibn Ibrahim. This is a quote, and I sent this yesterday in the WhatsApp. وقال إسحاق ibn Ibrahim إنما يكون التشبيه إذا قال يد كيد. Ishaq ibn Ibrahim, the teacher Bukhari, he said the tashbih is only if you say hand like our hand, أو سمع كسمع أو مثل سمع, or hearing like our hearing, right? فإذا قال سمع كسمع أو مثل فهذا تشبيه. So he says if you
no,
say
I sorry, I should clarify. I'm asking a tajsim.
What?
Because you believe they're different, right?
No, tajsim is making Allah a jism, and tashbih is liking Allah to us.
What's a jism in your view?
A jism, so it depends what you mean by jism, because there's two meanings for jism. If by jism you mean a combination of attributes, like distinctions between attributes, then of course this definition wouldn't be problematic, and no one, even you, would reject it. But if by jism you mean tarkib, and you have a tarkib within the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that you can take them away and put them back and they're not necessary, and so on and so forth, then this would be a jism, which is tajsim.
Okay, can you so can you say this all in English using English words?
Tarkib. What's the word for tarkib in English again? I think you know it. What is it? Pardon me?
Put order to something.
Tarkib, it's when there's a word for it. It's composition. Barakallah fiqh to the brother who texted me. Composition. So
okay.
If you say
Allah, what do you understand composition to mean? Sorry.
Compositions, you can say the attributes, they're not necessary, for example, like his hearing and so on and so forth, or you say that they can be taken away or put back and so on and so forth, like it's parts that can be taken and put back.
Parts, right? Parts.
But define parts.
They're separable, divisible.
Something that can be taken and put back, right? Like if someone's
Yeah.
building Legos, if you're building Legos, those Lego pieces are each parts because you can take them away and put them back. Or if you have a pizza and you cut it up, those are 8 parts, the slices, because you can take it away and put it back, right?
And also believing in contingent attributes is also taslim. Agree?
Sure. Well, if
Okay.
you believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is contingent, then this is problematic. Yeah.
Okay. So I was wondering,
But by the way,
Yeah.
interdependent doesn't mean contingent, just so you know.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So is Allah's Allah's 2 yets, you believe, right? Two hands, sorry.
Yes,
You don't
and
believe
I'm
it's
gonna
hands.
answer this. I'm gonna answer this, but you've been interrogating me for the past like long time. So like let's
No,
put
wait,
it-
no, that's not the moderators can choke it, right?
That's what I'm asking the mods. Can he get like a time on how long until it's my turn to ask questions again?
Yeah. Because I think I've been
We can do
interrogating
the
maybe
3
a third of
minutes.
how long you've been interrogating.
Okay, I'll give you 3 minutes of questioning me and then we switch. Is that okay?
Well, yeah, it's
I think 5 minutes because I think you interrogated me longer than
No,
that.
but the thing is,
No,
when
the
I was
rule was 3
interrogating
minutes.
you, I was asking your questions because you asked me.
No,
about-
I didn't. No,
Who brought up Ibn Qudama? 1 second. Who brought up Ibn Qudama as a
I brought
Hafiz
Ibn
of the
Qudama in response to so
No,
I
that wasn't in response to that. You just mentioned that because
Okay,
you
how
brought up
about
Yeah?
before, like, 'cause if we go into who said what, I don't think it's not be productive, but 5
Yeah.
minutes each side. So we get Sam 5 minutes and then Qabas, you 5 minutes.
You
you know what?
No,
No, three is fine. I'll do 3.
The original agreement that everybody agreed on was 3 minutes. So Sam, you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Plus you have 3 minutes afterwards.
Okay. Let me start the time.
Okay.
And
And
he's
then-
on mute because it's echoing.
No problem. Oh, I can't mute obviously because I have to.
Yeah, not you. I think that's not okay. Are you starting or not?
When you speak, I'm going to start the timer.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So you believe Allah has 2 hands, right?
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
Okay.
said,
Why 2?
because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kilta yaday Rabbi yamin." Both of Allah's hands are right. So
No.
both-
I know that that's a hadith. I'm saying why is it that it's 2? Why didn't Allah choose could Allah have chosen to have 10 if he wanted to?
Allah, this is with all due respect, is a very dumb question. Could Allah have chosen to be a bicycle? What is this question, akhi? Not akhi.
No,
what is this
that's
question?
no. Because,
No, I'm
because
serious. I'm
bicycles and
serious.
wait.
What is
It's my
this
turn. Wait. Actually, can we pause the time for a second? I want to lay some conditions for the. I just want to understand some things. So I'm gonna pause the time. I'm gonna ask the mods this.
Okay.
So when it's my turn to cross-examine and then vice versa for, can we have it that so how I'm used to cross-examinations when I watch debates is that I can ask questions and the person being cross-examined they have to answer the questions and they can't ask questions back except clarifying questions. Okay. And
Sure.
they can't argue and say that the questions if the question is asked they have to answer it or they have to clarify it.
Yeah. Qabas, here. Just answer the question, and if you think that the question itself is like there's a fallacy in it, just say that and then you can move on.
Okay.
Just answer it and don't propose another question to Sam for the 3 minutes, which there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right. So Allah has 2 hands, you believe. Could Allah have chosen to have 10 hands if he wanted to?
Okay, for me, there's a fast in this question. It's an invalid question.
Why is it invalid?
Because I'm here to discuss Allah's attributes, not hypothetically. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us he has 2, and the Prophet said he has 2, and that's what we say.
I want to see, because you believe that if you believe contingent attributes, then it's taslim. So I want to understand how in your view this is not contingent. I want to interrogate that, right? So that's what I'm going at. So could Allah have chosen to have 1 hand or 3 hands? Is that possible? Could he have added or removed the amount of hands he had?
I can't answer that question. It's a fallacious question.
How is it fallacious?
That's like me asking, can Allah be a bicycle?
No, because we believe bicycles are impossible for Allah, but you believe hands are possible for Allah.
Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has 2 hands, and it's necessary for him to have 2 hands. This is our article.
It's necessary. Why is it necessary?
Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has 2 hands, and he can't be any other way.
No. I know he can't be any other way, but I'm saying, but that so I want to get to this, right? So you believe so. Is it rational? Is it conceivable that God has 3 hands?
No, because of sifat al-that. Not
But I can no. But
sifat al-that are as they are.
Why? No, I want to
explain to you why.
Yeah. No. Wait. No. I want to ask this. So,
okay.
So God choose to have? So God does not have the ability to have 3 hands.
Okay, can I answer the question? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sifat al-that and sifat al-aliyah, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
صفات فعلية, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do it now, He can do it later, He can do it whenever He wishes.
Let's go to that. You believe yad is, I want really quick. So you believe hand is that, right?
What?
You believe hand is sifat of that.
Yeah, hand صفة ذات.
Okay. So I'm asking you, so is God's, so I'm asking why is it necessary for God to have two hands?
Because it's I'm telling you, it's because it's صفة عاد. That's like me, like for example,
No, but you're
explain to
begging
why-
the question. You're begging the question because I don't believe that.
I'll explain to you why it's fallacious. That's like somebody asking you, can God choose not to have power? We say no, because it's صفة ذات. It can't be without power.
No, that's not why. That's not what I say. That's like it is sifat that, but it's you're doing the other way around. So it's not that these things are impossible because they're sifat that, but they're sifat that because it's impossible otherwise, right? So you're
Okay, can you prove that
reading
position?
into
Can you prove that position?
that what
What you just said.
that which part of what I said?
The thing about it being the other way.
Well, okay, sorry, you're not supposed to ask me questions. I'm supposed to ask you questions. So
Okay.
why is it impossible? Let's say I'm an atheist. Let's say I'm an atheist, right? Oh, wait.
You are.
3 minutes
Okay,
are
yeah.
up. 3 minutes are up. So now, Qabas, you can go ahead. 3 minutes.
Okay, تمام. My question for 3 minutes. Okay, I'll tell you when to start the timer. Just let me get my scan and we can go ahead. Okay, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh, I'm going to send this in the VC in the WhatsApp. He says that he knew every single word in the Quran except for 4, and these 4 were not things that, and I sent you in the WhatsApp, and these 4 had nothing to do with the sifat. It's Hananan, for example, and Raqim, and so on and so forth. And he said every other word he knew. So my question is, did Ibn Abbas know what istiwa meant, and did he know what yad meant, and did he know what all of these other sifat mean? Answer yes or no only, by the way.
Let me read it.
We'll pause my time while he's reading it then, yeah, Shabab.
Okay, you can pause it.
And how much time do I have so I can put my timer to?
2 minutes 30.
Yeah.
So the words are غسلين, حنانا. And tell us when you finished reading, akhi. It's like literally.
Okay, I read it. Okay.
Okay.
I read it.
ممتاز.
So I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just it's a yes or no question, by the way. Did Ibn Abbas know every word except these 4? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Did he know what hand means?
Do you know what?
Hand means.
Hand?
Yeah.
The English word? No.
No, yad. Did he know what yad? Oh my God. Did he
The
know
word
what
yad? Yeah, he knew what yad means. Yeah.
Okay, what does yad mean?
Yad in Arabic, it could mean hand. It means hand. The apparent meaning is hand.
Okay, so Ibn Abbas.
But it can also mean, for example, in other contexts, depending on the context, right? It can mean, for example, power. It can mean.
Okay, 1 second. No,
possession.
perfect. That's it. That's all I want to hear. So Ibn Abbas didn't do tafweed.
No, that's not true.
Okay, did he do tafweed of the yad?
This text does not speak about that.
He said, I know every single word in the Quran.
Yeah.
So he knew what yad means.
He knows the word.
He knows what it means. He says, I know the meaning.
Yeah, he knows the meaning of these words.
Yeah, so he knows the meaning of yad.
And no. So for example, I know what yet, like let's say the word yet, because I've been doing this conversation a lot, right? So I know linguistically what yet means, right?
Okay, yeah. But
Okay.
but in the Quran,
but how Allah's saying that word, what he means by it, right? For example, Allah says istawa, right? Now I know what istawa means in the Arabic language.
Yeah.
Most of the meanings, let's say.
But
how Allah meant it,
you don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Ibn Abbas, what does he say? He says, I know every single word. He says, كل القرآن أعلمه. He says, the whole Quran, I know it.
Yeah.
So the whole Quran, he knows it. Meaning these words, he knows what they mean in the Quran. How Allah used them in the Quran.
That doesn't follow. He knows all the words in the Quran.
Yeah.
Right? Except these 4 words.
Yeah, and yad is not from them, so he knows what yad means.
So no, as in if you went to Ibn Abbas, as far as I understand, based on it, because you're just giving me on the spot, right? So as far as I understand from this, it's if you ask Ibn Abbas, what does the word, let's say, what does the word, Ghislam, right, mean, or awah, right? He said, I haven't heard this word before. It's not that he says, okay, I know yet, so I know yet. So if you say, hey, do you know what the word yet means? Like, let's say I time travel, right? I'm like, hey, I'm like I don't know Arabic well. Can you tell me what yet means? He's like, oh yeah, yet means sent, right? That's not the same as me saying, oh hey, what does Allah mean by yet?
So what's the purpose of him saying, I know the whole Quran, if he doesn't know how they're used in the Quran?
So what he means is I know because he's saying I don't know except these
Just
four
to
words.
note, just to note, 3 minutes are up, so you guys can continue. But
Okay, so how did the Quran? So why is he saying?
So okay, I'm gonna answer this and then it's my turn again. So I'm gonna say, so my answer is that because he says except these four words, that means that he's saying I know all the words in the Quran except these four words, as in he knows the linguistic meaning of all the words in the Quran. Like he's heard this word before.
Can
So
you
you're
bring?
asking what
Okay,
is
okay,
it?
okay. 1 second. Bring me from the Salaf who gave this tafsir, because I'll bring you Tabari who gave me a different tafsir of this.
I know because I'm doing this. So I'm saying this is how it could be compatible.
Okay, no, but I don't want how.
Wait, no. So I answered it.
No,
Now it's
one
my turn.
second,
No,
1 second.
Now you're asking a new question.
No,
That's a
this
separate
is the
question.
same question. This is the same
It's
question.
not. No, it's not the same question. It's not
I'm
the same
telling you.
question.
No, it's the same question.
Your time is up. Now it's my time. I think that's very clear.
This is, but you didn't answer my question.
I answered your question.
You said this is maybe how it is. I don't want maybes. I want to know what Ibn Abbas meant.
I'm saying so I'm gonna okay. This is the final thing I'm gonna say on this, and then it's my turn to interrogate.
But you have to wait 1 second. You have to.
No. So you asked how can I make this compatible with my worldview?
No, but Tabari explains this against what you're saying. You know,
I'm not gonna argue because your time is so you can do it. So
okay.
Your time. So now I'm just saying you're asking me how can I make this fit into my thing?
That's not my question. So you strawmanned me. Then you didn't know my question.
You're asking how to make sense of this. You're saying how do I make sense of this? And
no. My question is how did this? No. My question is how did the Salaf understand this? Because the debate topics about the Salaf's belief.
Yeah.
So
right.
you didn't quote me.
So you're not. So look, I haven't obviously, as I think you know, I haven't seen this before.
So then why are you
just saying
about it? Just say Allahu A'lam. How can you speak about something you've never seen?
So I'm trying to say that a possible way I can read this. So I'm saying it's not a KO because I'm saying that just based on the wording alone, I can make that fit. Now
no,
is that
it is a KO because with that definition because Tabari says you're wrong.
So I'm not going to argue on this because now it's my turn.
What do you mean?
It's not my turn. Wait, okay, moderator, his time is up. Agree?
How about Abbas, let's resume this line of questioning in your 3 minutes. We'll give Sam 3 minutes and then we can return to this line of questioning. What do you think?
Tamam, let's do that, no problem.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I want to get back to hands, right? So one thing. So you say, okay, so let's say you're talking to a Christian or an atheist, right? Or a Shia. Okay. Actually, not Shia, let's say Christian or atheist. You say God has 2 hands. I ask you, how is that possible? What are you going to say?
Pardon me?
Okay, you're talking to a Christian or an atheist.
Yeah. And he asked me, God has 2 hands.
Yeah, how does God have 2 hands?
I will tell him the same way I prove mercy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Quran, he tells us, so I'll make it simple. There's different types of attributes. There's attributes that can be proven using the aql, okay? Which is, for example, the haya, right? Or al-qudra, and so on. These can be proven using the aql. There's other attributes, for example, rahmah, mercy. Everyone believes Allah is merciful, and everyone believes...
But that's not sifat of that. We believe every sifat of that can be proven through aql.
Okay, can you prove mercy through aql according to your manhaj?
It's not a sifat of that.
Well, it is sifat that.
It's not sifat of that. That's ridiculous.
It's not a part of Allah's that.
No.
Not according to me.
It's a relational thing.
1 second. Not according to me. I'm speaking on your worldview. You
don't believe yeah.
Okay, fine.
It's a relational thing. Right?
Tamam, fine. If it's on your thing, no problem. So you believe all sifat that? No problem. We believe.
Okay. Sorry, I have a question. Sorry. If we believe that, how can you both claim that? How can you assume that we believe Rahma is a sifat of that, and then also say that we believe in 7 sifat?
No, because you make it all subtopics. You make all the attributes. So you take the 7 attributes of the that.
So sifat of that. So sifat of that. I explained. I told you what the sifat of that are, right? And I believe all those sifat are proven through are necessary.
Do you believe it's necessary that Allah is merciful?
It's not about that. It's about whether he has to always be doing that because it's an action, right? So it's failure, right?
But that's not my question. Is it necessary for Allah to be merciful?
No.
You don't believe it's necessary. So Allah's attributes are not unnecessary.
So they're not sifat of that. That's not. You're begging the question. I don't believe that they're sifat of that. So I'm asking you. You believe yad is sifat of that. I don't believe yad is sifat of that. You believe yad is sifat of that. I'm asking you. So you have to prove. Every sifat of that. You have to prove it's necessary because God's necessary, right?
No problem. So you believe God.
So if God, one of God's attributes is not necessary, then God's not necessary, and that's ridiculous. That's atheism. Okay.
So
I'm asking you. I don't believe. So you're asking. I don't believe mercy and attribute are sifat of that. And you believe hand is sifat of that. So I'm asking you, what is sifat of that? Sorry. How is it necessary? That's my question. How is it necessary?
We believe that they can be proven necessary because the Quran affirms it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if the
That's not what
Quran is,
no. It's
one
not
second,
a,
one second,
it's
one second,
biologically necessary. It's
one
not about
second.
modally necessary.
Okay, I don't have to
God
prove,
choosing, God
I
choosing.
don't, wait, 1 second. I don't have to prove it necessary, logically
You do.
necessary. I
You
know I
do.
don't. Why?
Because then God's not logically necessary.
Okay, did the Salaf prove? Okay, can you bring me from the Salaf them proving that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge is necessary using a logical argument?
No, but if
So the
you
Salaf,
ask them
wait, so,
this, because they didn't talk about
Okay,
this.
the 3 minutes are up. Qabas,
okay.
you can ask yours. And after Qabas, after your 3 minutes, I think we'll take a pause. And there were some questions proposed from each side. I think we'll just go back and make sure those are answered.
Oh,
Okay.
we're gonna
Also,
do.
I have a question. We didn't establish this, so this is on you guys. But do we have a conclusion time or not?
Okay, 1 second, 1 second. I want to ask him a question now. It's because
Wait. Can I ask this
We-
to Ahmed Abu Salah first?
Not necessarily, just whenever I guess you guys are done.
when we're done, we'll do conclusions. No problem. Okay. So you said mercy is relational, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Allah subhanahu the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, he said, and this is in Bukhari, لما قضى الله الخلق كتب في كتابه فهو عنده فوق العرش إن رحمتي غلبت غضبي. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he created the creation, he wrote in a book that's with him above the throne that my mercy surpasses my anger. Two questions. First of all, where's this book? If it's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it's with Allah, that means wherever the book is, Allah is. That's number one. Number two, how can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy if there's nothing to be merciful to, if it's rational or relational?
Okay. So we can repeat first question.
Oh, the book is above the throne with Allah, correct? Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Where's Allah? Sorry, where's the book?
Wait, can you send the hadith?
I sent it before and I'll send it again, no problem.
Okay. I'll pause your time while you're
Pause
sending
my time. Pause my time, please.
I paused it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Let me send the hadith. Here it is, and pause it while you're reading it so we don't lose time. It says, when Allah created the creation, he wrote in his book, which is with him above the throne, and he prescribed for himself, my mercy has overcome my anger. If it's relational, then there was no creation for Allah to be merciful to. That's number one. Number two, and actually that's number two. I want you to first answer, where is the book?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna. Okay. So yeah. So
don't start my time yet. Don't start my time because you're not talking yet.
I am talking.
Okay, answer. You're not saying anything.
I am answering. I can breathe. Can I not breathe?
Okay, you didn't say anything yet. Just go.
Because I'm taking a breath.
Okay, but my time.
I'm not a robot. I'm a human.
I better not be playing right now. But go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So this book, it's with him, right? It does not say it's with him spatially, and he's on the throne, right? So the book is on the throne, right?
It's with Allah.
And
it says with Allah.
Yeah. So the with here does not have to be spatial.
What? Okay, how is the book with Allah on the throne? Can you explain that?
Okay, is Allah with us? Is Allah with the believers?
Yeah, but not above the throne.
Is Allah with the believers?
Wait, is it? Yeah, is it with Allah in status?
In place, in status, not in status. Of course not.
Okay, perfect. So then, when it says it's with Allah above the throne.
Okay, so again, Allah is with the believers. That's not in status, and that's not even according to you. It's not spatial.
No, I don't say spatial for any of this stuff, by the way. But okay, Allah is with us through His victory. Yes. So is Allah giving victory to the book?
No. So I'm just saying that. Look, it doesn't. It's not necessarily that it's spatial. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Give me tafsir of this hadith, please. The book is with Allah.
I'm gonna do Tafweed here.
Okay. Perfect. It's with makana, no problem. Allah says in the Quran, "Bal rafa'ahu Allahu ilayh." Allah raised Jesus up to Himself. Where did Jesus go?
He went to
Did he go up or down?
He went up.
Okay, so he went up to Allah, correct?
Yeah.
How did he go up to Allah if Allah isn't up?
So Allah's not in a makan, right?
That's not my question. How did he go up to Allah if Allah is not up?
Can you send the hadith?
In ayah, chapter 4, verse 157. بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ.
Can you send it?
It was chapter 4, verse 157. Pause my time, I'll get it, yeah. Sorry, verse 158. Sorry, not 4. 157. بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ. I will send it, and I will send the translation with it. It says, rather, Allah raised him up to Himself. So my question is, while I'm sending it, and hopefully my time is paused.
Yeah, your time is paused.
Okay. How did Jesus go up to Allah if Allah isn't up? يعني if Allah is لا مكان, how can you go up to Allah? My time, you
Okay.
bro, you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
just.
So no. So I'm resuming. So I paused your time.
Okay.
Okay. So I just want to say two things. One is that I will so again, if I'm doing Tafweed, right, I don't have to give a tafsir of this, right? I don't explain how he did this. I just explain I just explain the words. And as Imam Tabari says that in his tafsir that Jesus being in a place is proof that he cannot be God, right? So we know that Allah is not in
Well, I
place.
disagree. Who said? Wait. Who is he to say Jesus being in a place means he's not God? The ayah.
Tabari says this.
Okay. Let's restart. Tabari doesn't say that. Let's
Okay,
Tabari does
restart.
say that. He says in
time is
tafsir.
up, time is up.
Okay.
One second.
Okay, my turn again.
Okay, sorry, I'm just muting both of you for a second. I think now, because there's been a lot of back and forth, I think we'll just have Sam first ask one question, and then I'll mute you, and then Qabas just give a clear answer. So Sam, you can start first. Just ask just one question.
Okay. Can you prove? Or it's not just can you? I'm asking you to prove God's hand or two hands being necessary. Like having it's impossible. The contrary is impossible. So it's impossible for God to not have two hands. Prove it to me.
Okay, now you go on mute and I answer the question, right? Okay, I will prove it to you. So to prove that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands are necessary as they are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, he says he's the Samad. He's the necessary being, and we affirm that. And that's what Ibn Taymiyyah, he says the Samad means a necessary being. Now, if I can prove the Quran is true, then anything that comes from truth must be true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala affirmed two hands for himself in the Quran, therefore it's true. Finished. There you go.
Okay, and then Sam, you can ask one follow-up.
Okay. So that's a Christian or an atheist. Okay, I have a question. So if
It's follow-up. It has to be a follow-up on the same point if it's needed. If it's not needed, then Qabas is the next question. Like he can ask his question.
all right. So wait, so I can ask one question and then follow up to that?
Like follow up to your original if you feel that his answer was not satisfactory for the same topic, not a new question.
Yeah. Okay. So you believe God says this, okay? And my point is that if God is to say that something irrational, because you still haven't shown us irrational. You just said God says it, right? So then my point is that, or my question to you is that if God says something that is irrational or goes against the reason, then how can we even, or a better way, do you prove the Quran is true or Allah is truthful or Allah speaking in the Quran using like through reason? As in when you appealing to the person's reason? And if you say and this includes arguments like, oh, the Prophet, whatever, actually any argument. Do you believe arguments have to be rational arguments? And if so, how can you rely on rational proofs for Islam if you believe that God is saying something that is, well, you don't believe, okay. Actually, let me try
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna be on. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I
Yeah.
don't understand the question whatsoever.
Okay. Okay, let me rephrase it then. You say that Allah is necessary to have two hands because Allah said so. But all of that doesn't prove it's necessary. That just proves that Allah said it. And could you then how can we it could just be the case that our theology is irrational. How can you establish that our theology is rational?
Okay.
Because you didn't actually prove it. You just said it. God said it. But God could. I just want to repeat myself to make it very clear. You just prove that God said. You just claim God said it, but God saying it doesn't mean it's rationally coherent.
Okay, Qabas, you can go ahead.
I can ask now? Okay. Tamam. So I'm going to rephrase your question to make sure I understood you. You're saying, how can you believe that I have to prove our theology is rationally logical, correct? That's your question. Can you say just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. First of all, there is no contradiction in the statement that Allah's hand is necessary. That's number one. The person would have to show a logical contradiction to that. Number two, if I prove that the Quran is true and it's from God, then anything that comes from truth must be true. That's a qaida, and there's nothing wrong. It's like finished. As soon as you prove the Quran is from God and you make that as a fact, then anything that comes from truth must be true. And Allah says He has two hands and He says He's a Samad, therefore Allah's hands are necessary. That's number one. Number two, the Prophet ﷺ did not use this type of argumentation. We have the Sunnah and we have the books of the Sunnah, the Mudawwana. Show me where the Prophet used this type of argumentation to prove that Islam is true. He never did that. And neither did the Sahaba and neither did the Salaf. So I'm proving it the way the Sahaba and the Salaf proved it. And this is what we as Atharis are proud of, that we use things or do things the way the Sahaba and the Salaf did them. And the debate topic is about what the Salaf did and believed. So I'm doing what the Salaf they did and they believed. And this is how Hadith science works, by the way. It's the Hadith or the Tawatur of the Quran is the highest level of authenticity. If it's true, proven to be God, it must be true. There's no other issue. And to answer your question again directly, there is no contradiction by saying the hands are necessary just because somebody doesn't use a logical argument to prove it. That's my answer.
Okay, now Abbas, you can propose one question to Sam, and then we'll do the same thing.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is very simple, extremely simple. So I just want you to answer it straightforward, no lif wa dawran, as they say. He says, and I'm going to send the scan. So can you just give me like 30 seconds to find the scan with the translation and send it? 1 second here, Ibn Qutayba. Okay, here it is. I sent it. And inshallah, the brother, brother Abu Abdullah, he's going to send the translation and we'll have it there. Now, Ibn Qutayba, he says, فإن قال لنا ما اليدين ها هنا قلنا هما اليدين اللتين تعرف الناس كذلك. If somebody says to us, what are the hands? What are the hands of Allah? He says, we say to them that the hands are the hands which everybody understands. The meaning is that which everyone understands. And he says, قال ابن عباس في هذه الآية. Ibn Abbas says about this ayah, لما خلقت بيدي اليدان اليدان. The hands are the hands, meaning it's clear. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كلتا يديه يمين. Both his hands are right. فهل يجوز لأحد أن يجعل اليدان هنا نعمة أو نعمتان? He says, so is it conceivable that someone will make the hands a blessing or two blessings? Of course not. وقال لما خلقت بيدي فنحن نقول كما قال الله تعالى وكما قال رسوله ولا نتجاهل. This is the shah. This is why I brought this quote. He says, what I created with my hands, when Allah says that in the Quran, He says, for we say what Allah said and what the Messenger says, and we do not say we don't know. He says what? We do not say we don't know. لا نتجاهل. We don't say we don't know. ولا يحملنا ما نحن فيه من نفي التشبيه على أن ننكر ما وصف به. And he says the fact that we don't do tashbih doesn't mean that we negate what Allah described Himself with. So he says we do not say لا نتجاهل. We don't say we don't know. My question to you is this. What does he mean by saying everybody knows what hands means, and then later on he says لا نتجاهل, we don't say what it doesn't mean, or we don't know what it means? How do you understand that from the Maturidi perspective? Thank you very much. And Ibn Qutayba is from the Salaf, by the way.
Can you repeat what Ibn Qutayba said?
It's written in the chat. So he says, if someone asks us, what are the hands here? We respond by saying the two hands are what the people understand and recognize, meaning you understand what hand means. Similarly, Ibn Abbas said regarding to the verse, the two hands are two hands. He said the two hands are the two hands, meaning the al-yadan al-yadan, the hands are they are. And the Prophet said both of Allah's hands are right hands. So it's impermissible for anyone to interpret the two hands here as favor or two favors. What he's arguing is if Allah has two hands, are you saying that Allah has two attributes of qudra, two attributes of ni'mah, two attributes of rahmah? You can't say that. So that's what he's saying. Can you say, so he says it's not permissible for anyone to interpret the two hands here as favor or two favors. And then Allah says, whom I created with my two hands. Thus we affirm, as Allah and His Messenger have affirmed, we neither deny nor allow our opposition to do tashbih, to drive us to reject what Allah has described for Himself. And the point here is that we affirm what Allah says and we neither deny. Deny is not the best translation because the Arabic says natajahal. We do not say we don't know. Natajahal is to say I don't know. So how do you understand this quote through the Maturidi lens? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean,
Did I cut out?
no, you didn't cut out. I'm reading it.
No problem, no problem.
Okay, there are two hands that people understand and recognize. Something. I would say that
Yeah, what would you say?
I would say that this is going off topic from ulu.
Yo, akhi, we're debating tafwid. And you asked me about how the hands are necessary. 1 second, 1 second. How did you ask me the hands are necessary? How is that about ulu?
Because I want to,
No,
yeah.
no, 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 akhi, this is unfair. Not akhi, but you get what I mean. How can you ask me for
Not
3
akhi,
minutes?
okay. Not akhi.
No, you ask me for 10 minutes about how hands are necessary, and then when I ask you about this, you say it's off topic. Come on, man.
Yeah, Sam, this is like as
Yeah.
on topic as anything else. Please do answer.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I wish I need to look at it and I'll get back to you.
Okay, take your time. We can wait. No problem.
Not right now. I'll have to get back later.
Oh, another debate or something?
I won't do another debate, but I'll respond to this specifically.
Well, yeah, you won't do another debate, but how are you gonna respond?
Like I'll send an answer, but I won't debate you on it. Whether the answer like
So خلاص, so you affirm that Ibn Qutayba was an Athari. This is clear. I'm telling you, this is واضح, as clear as the sun. He's telling
no,
you, he says لا نتجاهل. We don't say we don't know, and he says it's the hands that everybody knows. So how is it the hand that everybody knows if nobody knows it except Allah and Ibn Abbas? Akhi, look, when the truth comes to you, accept the truth as it is. There's no need to do inkar and be mu'anid, and you have to win the debate or lose. Wallahi, akhi,
no,
we're
it's
all
not
here.
about that. It's
I understand, but we're all here for Jannah, akhi. Wallahi, we're here for Jannah.
yes,
If
yeah.
you go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment and say, Ya Allah, look, I had the aqwal of the Salaf, I had the Quran, I had the Sunnah, and I just said what the Salaf said. I didn't use Aristotle's arguments, I didn't use a
Yeah.
philosophical
Well,
argument.
if you're gonna talk about the Salaf, then I actually didn't have time to bring it, but I have like bazillion quotes.
I brought you Salaf the whole time. Did I quote
Yeah.
you anyone outside the Salaf unless they were an Ash'ari? Everyone outside the Salaf who I quoted
Well,
was
actually, so here's the thing. So of the quotes you sent me, so you remember you sent me quotes, right?
I sent you my quotes before the debate. Yes, I remember.
Yeah. Well, okay. So almost none of them did you. I don't think you used any of them.
I used them I didn't. I used them without sending them in the chat. Like I would refer to them with my tongue, but I wouldn't send them because I already DM'd you them all.
Yeah. So okay. So actually, here's a question.
What
do you?
Habib, 1 second.
Yeah.
There's no way you're complaining that I didn't send you every single argument I'm going to use before the debate.
You didn't mention
So that's
Ibn Abbas. You didn't mention Ibn Abbas, but
that's what I'm saying. How are you arguing or complaining
yeah.
that I didn't send you every argument before the debate? Yeah, and is that a
You didn't send
condition?
me a argument for the debate.
That's
You sent me
the
a bunch of quotes, but you didn't even use those quotes.
Yeah, no, so
And
why
I
are
spent
you?
my time addressing. I spent my time looking at those quotes.
Yeah, you use them in your presentation, and your refutation was there. So
I didn't use them in presentation.
Yeah, you did. You used the one about Muzani. You had it. I saw it.
Yeah, but I didn't use it. I had it, but I didn't have time to use it because we limited 5 minutes. If I had more time, then I would have brought it up.
Perhaps, and maybe if I had more time, I would have brought up the other quotes. But how are you complaining that I didn't send you my scans before the debate?
Yeah, and I'm saying that you didn't use those scans.
Okay,
So you send me, and I
you-
went and looked at those, right?
How are you? If I had more time, wallahi, I would use the other ones too, inshallah. But how are you? How are you telling me that an issue is I didn't send you all my scans before the debate? I never asked you to send me any scans, and I went out of my way to send you some of my scans too.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, you didn't use those scans.
Because I don't have enough time, akhi. The debates, we had.
Okay, do you want to go over those scans?
We'll go after them after this quote here, but this quote is واضح. It's clear as the sun. Why go there when we have the sun in front of us?
Yeah, so I don't want to do like what do you call it? 2-bit like what do you call it? Like DIY tafsir, right?
Okay, you don't have to do DIY tafsir. I agree with you, but I'm telling you, take this, read it, ask your scholars about it, and maybe don't they're going to misguide you, but look at things with an open mind. Are what the scholars saying in line with what the Salaf said, or are they making some ta'weels and copes and up and down? Because he says here, the hands are that which everybody knows. And he's speaking about the Quran verse. You told me nobody knows it except Allah and Ibn Abbas. So how only Allah and Ibn Abbas knows it, and he's saying everybody knows it? How can we square the circle, as they say?
I'll get back to you.
Okay, inshallah. Now, because so you didn't answer my question. Do I still get to ask another question? Because you asked me a question and I answered it, and now it's my turn to ask, and you said I'll get back to you later. So I have to ask another question, so right?
Yes. I asked, because you saw.
Wait, so how much time does he have?
Well, he'll just ask one question, and then if you can answer it, then
okay.
I think after that we'll move to conclusions, and we'll.
If Ammar is still here, can he send the translation of the Al-Izz bin Abd Salam quote about the Sahaba being mujassima? If you have it, please.
He never uses the word tajsim.
Yeah, no problem. Let's do it. So we're gonna.
So why are you saying that Izz bin Abi Salam calls him mujassima when he doesn't call him mujassima?
He says they believed in اعتقاد التجسيم.
He did, I didn't. Does he use the word tajsim?
Yeah. He says تجسيم. We'll get the scan right now, inshallah. We'll just bear with us for a moment. And Abu Abdullah, not you, Abu Salih. There's another Abu Abdullah. If you have the scan, please do send it, Abu al-Izz with the translation, because I already have the scan. I just need the translation so the Sam can understand it. So I'll send the scan first, and then once we get the translation, inshallah, we'll discuss it. And because my question is based off of that. Okay, here's the scan. Save. WhatsApp. Send. Okay, قواعد الكبرى. Okay, so this is a scan in Arabic.
Yeah.
Ammar ibn Yasir has the translation here. So we'll get to that quickly, bi'idhnillah. Or I can find it in the chat. Okay, here's the translation going to be. Okay, I found the translation. Ammar sent it before. So I replied to it, and I'll copy it, and I'll send it again. And let's read the translation together. And then my question is going to be based on that. Okay. So, Izz al-Din Abdul Salam, he says in Qawaid al-Kubra, the views of al-Ash'ari became numerous to the point that Ibn Fawraq compiled them into 2 volumes. And all of these opinions cannot be fully validated as correct by the scholars striving in ijtihad, as the truth is only with one of them, while the rest are mistaken. Here's the point we need now. However, this error is excused due to the difficulty in avoiding it and escaping it. So he says there's Atharis and there's Ash'aris, and the Atharis are wrong, but they're excused. Why? Because of the difficulty in avoiding and escaping it, particularly in those who believe in the notion of direction. For the belief in an entity that is neither moving nor still, so he's explaining the Ash'ari belief now. For the belief of an entity that is neither moving nor still, nor separate from the creation nor connected to it, neither inside of the world or outside of it, is not something anyone naturally perceives by instinct. Rather, it can be only understood after examining difficult to grasp and challenging proofs. So he says to become an Ash'ari, you can only be an Ash'ari after understanding and examining difficult to grasp and challenging proofs. So nobody's born Ash'ari. And he says, due to the difficulty of this understanding, Allah has forgiven the general masses concerning it. For this reason, no one, meaning the Sahaba, who embraced Islam was obligated to investigate this matter. Rather, he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the Prophet, accepted what was known to be inseparable from their understanding. So he says, we're going to scroll up a little bit. He said that these people believed in the notion of direction. Is the notion of direction tajsim? Of course it's tajsim. And he says later on that the Sahaba believed in it, the new Muslims in the Prophet's time. And he said, rather, he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, accepted what was known to be inseparable from their understanding. And the rightly guided caliphs and the learned scholars continued to allow this. So Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, they continued to allow people to believe in jihah, meaning that Allah is above in a direction, knowing that the general public had not grasped the truth in this matter, nor have been guided to it. And he continues and continues and continues. So my question is, and Fakhruddin al-Razi says the same exact thing. And I'm not going to read his quote, but I'm going to send it in the chat if anyone else wants to benefit from it. But the idea is, why do we have Ash'ari scholars saying that the Sahaba and the majority of the Muslims do not believe what the Ash'ari believe? That's my question. How can you say that some of the Sahaba believe this and the Prophet agreed to it? He knew he can't change their mind.
Okay. So in regards to jihad, he says that, okay, first of all, he's talking about the majority of people, right?
The majority of the Sahaba, correct?
He in that paragraph he didn't say Sahaba.
Okay, read the next one where it speaks about the Prophet. For this reason, no one who embraced Islam was obligated to investigate this matter. Rather, he
So so he gave an example. He said, for example, jihad, right?
Yeah. So the Sahaba.
But he's talking about in general, and he's talking about in general, the kalami issues, right?
But no,
example.
He says
he gives an example, but he's talking about general, right? He's just talking about general, right? Okay, so he's talking about in general. And he gives an example of jihad. He's not saying the Sahaba accepted jihad. He's just saying that in general.
No. 1 second. He says in this paragraph where he gives the example of jihad, in the end of it, he says this is something you cannot be disconnected from. And then when he speaks about the Sahaba believing in this, he said the Prophet didn't tell them otherwise because he knew he can't disconnect them from it. So it's the same thing.
No, it's no. So he's talking about in general.
It's clear as the okay. You know what? Let's use the quote of Al-Razi. Al-Razi is more clear. 1 second.
Wait, no. You're asking one at a time. So I'm trying to answer your question.
No, but this is clear as the sun. This is
how many? Look, you've been talking for like 5 minutes now.
What?
You've been talking for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. So answer my question. Go ahead. I'll go mute.
So you asked me a question. I'm giving you an answer. Okay, right? So I'm saying that. So what is it? I said I'm saying that most of these issues. I'll give for example. This for example. Okay. Uh, the Bukhariyun and the Samarkandiyun, right, of the Ahnaf, they disagreed whether Iman was created or not created. Okay. Now the Sahaba did not talk about this. There was no need to talk about
Yeah,
this. They didn't talk about this.
whoa,
They
whoa,
didn't
yes, they
think
did. They said there's a hadith saying that Iman is not created.
what?
Wait, one
Yes,
second.
yes. So I'm not talking about
Sorry,
I'm
Qabas, just stay on mute until Sam finishes talking.
Sorry, my
okay.
bad. That's my fault. Sorry.
So
You can have extra time because of that. You give him 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
wait, is this my time right now or not?
Yeah, you have 3 minutes 30 seconds. But I'll give you extra because I interrupted.
Wait, no, because the 3 minutes is my question time. So is
How much time does?
Fine, just continue answering, Sam. Just continue answering.
no, is this in my question time? In my question or answering time?
No. Just keep answering. Don't worry about timing. Just keep answering.
No. I mean, is this in Qabas time or
There's
my
no
time?
time limit for what we were
Okay.
doing now, where there's one question, one answer. There was no time limit. So just
Okay.
just
Yeah.
answer the question specifically.
Okay. So there are issues. There are discussions that happen, right, among later scholars that were not discussed or entertained, right, by the Sahaba, right, or by the early Salaf. Okay. Now, what Ibn Abi Salam is saying is that that's not an issue, right? And he then said, and he says among the people as well. For example, he says jihad, right? So he says that some might affirm that, right? They might, but they still know. And but he says later that but he says like they don't believe in what do you call it, anthropomorphism, right? So he
Where
says
did he say?
if you ask like, so he says after the claim that anyone with God resides within any human body or any other being, then they're disbelievers, right? So he doesn't believe that the Sahaba ever believed in that, right? Um, um, so he's just saying that what Imam Ashari talked about, right? That a lot of those stuff and a lot of the stuff that is later talked about was not discussed by the Sahaba. But he's saying that's not an issue because they didn't need to talk about it. It wasn't pertinent, right? That's what he's saying, and that's my answer to your question.
Okay, I don't accept that answer, but no problem. Do I get a follow-up actually?
Yes, you can follow up on the same point. You can ask him another question on the same point.
Okay. Do the general masses, according to this quote, believe that Allah is above the throne? With the way the Wahhabis do?
No,
Sorry. I didn't mean to ask that question.
absolutely not. You asked that question.
Okay, no, I take that back. Is it okay? You give me generosity, be generous to me, charitable.
Please,
akhi. Not akhi.
Okay,
but
fine.
Okay.
But
Yazid
then I get another.
Okay, yeah. You get two follow-ups on yours. That's fair.
Okay.
Yazid ibn Harun, the teacher of Bukhari, he says anyone who doesn't believe in istiwa the way the lay people believe in istiwa is a Jahmi. I need everyone to focus. This is the end one. Yazid ibn Harun, he said, and this is mentioned by Bukhari in Khalq Af'al al-Ibad, and Bukhari is quoting his teacher Yazid ibn Harun, and he's one of the aim of the Salaf. So Yazid ibn Harun, he said, anyone who does not believe in istiwa the way the general masses or the lay people believe in it is a Jahmi. Okay? Now, according to this quote, the lay people do not believe in jihad. Sorry, they believe in jihad. My question is, if the lay people believe in jihad, and that's wrong according to Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam, then Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam must be a Jahmi according to Yazid ibn Harun.
So sorry, propose the exact question.
I don't know what the question is.
So my question is, according to Yazid ibn Harun, would Al-Izz ibn Abdul Salam be a Jahmi because he disagrees with the lay people's understanding of istiwa?
No. And because the lay people don't believe that God, they're not hululis.
Okay, but no problem. Sure, the question is clear, and I think everyone understands. If that's your answer, that's okay.
Yeah. So so when the lay people say
I think
istawa,
now
they don't.
because sorry. I think now because each party has had a question.
Okay.
And in the follow-up, both sides, I think we'll move to conclusions.
Okay.
So Sam, you have 5 minutes.
Wait. Because I did the first intro. Can this time Qabas do the first conclusion?
It's the opposite. No, the one who opens has to. You got to open, so that means I
Okay.
get to close.
How much
That's
time?
only.
How much time do I have?
5 minutes.
Wait, is there going to be a Q&A? By the way, just one second, because earlier they were asking in the group chat they want a Q&A from the audience. Are we still having that?
Uh,
Let's do
sure.
like let's do like yeah, a couple questions.
Okay. It
Yeah.
can't be too long. It can't be too long because I have to drive Showkit home, and it's
Okay,
11,
no
and
problem.
I can't drive after midnight, and
That's
he
fine.
lives far away, so I
We'll
have to.
be we'll be quick. We'll be quick, inshallah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
each person gets one question.
Okay, sure. We each get asked one question or something.
Oh no. Okay. How
Okay.
about each person gets
I
asked three questions? Three questions.
okay.
All right.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
So
Whenever you want, five
yeah,
minutes.
I will screen share and then I'll 1 second. So let me begin my timer. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I unfortunately did not get enough time to present a bunch of my quotes, but I just want to say that what we see from the quotes of the Salaf, aside from and look, so Islam opponent, he'll bring a bunch of little snippets, but I'm bringing from main scholars, big scholars that we all accept, where they completely say we don't do tafsir this, right? He didn't even. I just want to say my opponent did not even address what Imam Muhammad al-Shaybani says, where he says we don't explain these things, right? This is very clear, right? Imam Muhammad al-Shaybani, he says we don't interpret it, we stay silent on it, we don't describe it, anything, right? Imam Shafi says I don't delve into it. He says without makan. My opponent just said it's weak. He said fabricate. He said no chain. This is the source. You can look it up. Imam Malik said we don't imagine. Imam Malik said we pass it on with Cain. Imam Malik ironically also does Tawil when sometimes, right? So again, Tawil is not unknown to the Sahaba, right? So he what do you call it? He did Tawil of Nuzul and said it's about his commands, right? That's Imam Malik, right? So I explained Istawa. So Imam Malik says it's inconceivable. The modality, there's no modality, as Qadi Abdul Wahhab says, and Imam Qurtubi. And I can bring those sources later. Imam Ahmed, he says that we do not ask what they mean. Why would it be an issue to ask what they mean if the meaning is obvious? Ibn Qudama says we ought to cover that. Imam Ahmed, he does. So I show like Tawil al-Jami, right? So it's like apathetic Tawil, right? So even he says that it's not permissible to say that there was a meeting or a like parallel kind of to the throne. So you can't say distance. That's the point. You can't say it's touching or anything. I have other sources, and I'll bring those later. I'll bring the references later if you want it. From so what do you call it? From Prognomer Master Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Imam Zain al-Abidin, he says that glory be to you who has no place. Imam Jafar Sadiq, and this is from a Sunni source, so don't say Shia. This is Imam Nasafi quoting. Others also quote him. He says that whoever claims that Allah is above the creation, as in spatially, right, is a kafir. These are all and there's way more. So I have a bunch of I can show them. I can send the references. All these scholars, right? They early scholars, by the way, say and from the Salaf, because if you look at what Imam Dahabi considers anyone who lived in the third century to be from the Salaf, right? Ironically, Imam Ashari and Imam Maturidi lived in that time. Al-Khattabi said it's the fourth century, so definitely Imam Maturidi and Imam Nasafi and all these guys, they were from the Salaf. I literally ran out of space. Ran out of space. There's way more. I have a list of Hanbalis, and I can bring the sources later where they do tafwid and mana, right? And by the way, this is confirmed. Ibn Uthaymeen literally says that Itiqad is a muwathid book, and um, um, uh, another Salafi, Abdul Razak Afifi, also says Ibn Qudamah himself was a muwathid. I have Ibn Sufyan saying we pass them along, so it's if by the left, right? I just want to bring this hadith. This is a very famous hadith. It's in Sahih Muslim, so no one can say it's weak. It says there's nothing underneath you. And you'll see how Salafis reinterpret this, and ironically they do Tawil. So I also want to say that and Imam Bayhaqi confirms this. This is him. And look, you can't say that Imam Bayhaqi is copying or something, because then you're just saying Imam Bayhaqi is making stuff up in the religion, which is insane, right? No one believes Imam Bayhaqi makes stuff up in the religion, or he's the source of innovation. Even Wahhabis themselves or Salafis, even they'll say that Imam Bayhaqi is sincere and he's not a purposeful innovator. So if Imam Haq says this is the meaning of something, right? Or the Salaf believe this, right? Or Ibn Hajar says this is what the Salaf believed, then you can't say that. And look, he'll say these are not from the Salaf, but that's not the point. The point is that they're making a claim that this was the Salaf believed, and either they have evidence or they don't have evidence, right? And so either they're making stuff up in the religion, they're just coping, and they're like doing DIY, right? Which is insane to say. Like, how could you even say that about Bihaqi and Ibn Hajar, right? That they're just like coping and making stuff up, or they have evidences, right? And I have a bunch of sources. I can bring this later. I don't have enough time because I only have like 30 seconds left. And we can go how none of these stuff refute anything. Ironically, my opponent brings SCG. And one is, I just want to bring this one. So SCG, which he cites as evidence, he himself denies Makan, right? I have other stuff. I have Ibn Taymiyyah, so again, I don't have time for that. We have other verses. So we have verses in the Quran that it cannot be. It makes literally no sense that, or actually, this for example. So about how folk, literally the Quran uses folk in a non-literal sense. And we say Tabari himself then negates Makan. So all these scholars, you have to reject all these scholars.
5 minutes are up.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, Rasulullah. First of all, thank you everyone for coming. Secondly, look, Tabari, the last quote you just brought there, Tabari said Allah sits, and this is in his tafsir of Ayat al-Kursi, chapter 2, verse 256. So if you believe Allah sits on the throne, then Tabari is not in your manhaj al-Aqidah. Secondly, that list of all the scholars you brought, first of all, some of those guys are Mu'tazila, some of those guys takfiri, like Ibn Hazm, he says he sends la'na. Ibn Hazm, do you know Ibn Hazm sent la'na upon Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari? And then some of those scholars, you listed their names more than once. Some of them are very, very late, and you're saying they're all Salaf. How are they all Salaf? How on earth is Ibn Hazm Salaf? How on earth are any of those? Most of those guys are never even near the Salaf, right? And you brought so many quotes which are weak and fabricated, and you brought the one of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal saying, Bila kayf wala ma'na. First of all, that comes through the way of Hanbal, Ibn Ishaq, and Hanbal ibn Ishaq, his mufradat are not accepted through Ahmad ibn Hanbal, as mentioned by Dar al-Qutni, as mentioned by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, as mentioned by al-Dhahabi. So this is a narration. You're bringing stuff which is dubious, and the scholars weakened it. But even if we accept it, according to Ahmad ibn Hanbal, ma'na means illah, and I can send that in the WhatsApp group chat, because Ahmad ibn Hanbal was asked by one of his students, what's the ma'na, what's the meaning of putting your left hand over your right hand? So he explained why we do it. He explained why we do it. He said it's to show humiliation in front of the most honorable, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam Ahmad uses the word ma'na as the illah sometimes, and that's proven through the books, just as I give an example. So therefore, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, if we assume this is authentic, he means that bila kayf wala ma'na. The ma'na here means without a illah. That means you can't speak about the kayfiyya again. So that's just to refute all the stuff you brought. I think clearly I brought so much evidence, so much adillah from the Quran, from the Sunnah, from the Salaf. When I told him, did Jesus, peace be upon him, go up in a direction? He said yes. The ayah says he went up to Allah. So if he went up to Allah and he went up in a direction, that means Allah is up. And he says, he didn't answer that question. And then we asked him about Ibn Qutayba, saying everybody knows what a hand means. And then he says he didn't answer that question. And then I bring him the one about the arsh. And you know what? Let me make this simple. Why would the Prophet play games with us? Why would the Prophet say so many times Allah is above the throne? Why would he say Allah has fingers? Why would he say that Allah created 4 things with his hand? If we don't even know what hand means, and Allah's hand means power. Because if Allah created 4 things with his hand, and hand means power, only 4 things were created by the power of Allah. Meaning Sam was not created by the power of Allah. Billah. Why would the Prophet play games with us and teach us all of this stuff if we're supposed to believe that Allah doesn't have hands? If we're supposed to believe that Allah's book is not with Allah, why would he say the book is above the throne with Allah? Why would the Abdullah ibn Mas'ud say that the throne is above the water and Allah is above the throne if the aboveness of Allah is not a literal aboveness? Why would that be the case? And then, by the way, almost all the quotes that Sam brought were either weak or they're not from the Salaf. And he said, I can't say Bayhaqi was wrong. And earlier he brought Ibn Hajar and said Albani says Ibn Hajar was good. Albani said Ibn Hajar had mistakes and calamities in Aqidah. So why would the guy you're using, he himself says we don't take Aqidah Masail from Ibn Hajar. And listen, ya Sam, I call you towards Islam. I call you to take your Shahada bi'idhnillah and affirm the Sifat, to stop doing shirk and this and that. And this is the way and the methodology of the Salaf al-Salih. I think it's clear to everyone who was quoting the Quran and the Sunnah and the Salaf, and who was trying to make aqli, rational arguments that had nothing to do with that. And then one last thing, is the Prophet ﷺ never used these arguments, and the arguments the Prophet used were sufficient, because there's a qaida in usul al-fiqh, لا يجوز تأخيره البيان عن وقت الحاجة, that it's not permissible to delay a clarification of rulings beyond the need of time. For example, it's not permissible to command people to pray tomorrow, and then when the time of prayer comes, fail to explain how to perform the prayer. It's not permissible for the Prophet to give da'wah ﷺ with the lack of rational arguments of it's necessary that are necessary to understand Allah. It would be an injustice to the people not to explain it. For example, if the Prophet said pray tomorrow, he has to teach us how to pray. So if tomorrow comes and people are asking rational arguments about Islam that we need to answer as Muslims, the Prophet would not have left us. The Prophet ﷺ would have answered and would have taught us and would have shown us. This is a clear qaida. And if everyone goes home with nothing except this, then go home with this. So I'm going to repeat it one more time before my time ends. There's a qaida in fiqh that you can't push something back more than the waqt of the hajjah. So for example, if the Prophet says pray tomorrow, tomorrow can't come and he doesn't teach us how to pray. Meaning, if it's necessary to use logical arguments to prove that the yad is a necessary attribute of Allah, then it's wajib upon the Prophet to teach us this. But he said the Prophet never did that, and that the Sahaba never did that, and that the Salaf never did that. He said because they were never asked. But it doesn't matter if they were never asked. If it's necessary for us to know, then the Prophet would have taught us. Otherwise, he failed to do the bayan. And I already proved how the hands are necessary. We proved that the Quran is true through tawatur of the hadith, science, and so on and so forth. And anything that comes from truth must be true, and that would be a simple way to do it. And that's the way that the Prophet and the Sahaba and the Salaf did it. So I rest my case, and I give the rest of my time as sadaqah. Wallahu a'lam, wa jazakumullah khair.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan to both parties for the debate. We'll do Q&A now. I think what we'll do is you can either send a question in the chat, and you can either send a question in the chat and make sure it's clear, like who it's addressed to, or you can raise your hand and then I'll unmute you. And then we will do, I think, yeah, what was agreed upon was three questions each. If they come up, maybe nobody has any questions. I think we'll give it like maybe one.
Just give it like 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yes, Wadi, you can ask something. Who's it addressed to? Or do you want to go on mic? Okay. In the chat or on mic? On mic, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's what the hadith says, yeah.
Yeah. So how I said it is that with here does not, so what is that the book is above the throne, right? And then Allah's with the book, or the book is with Allah, right? And that does not have to be spatial, because as I mentioned, Allah's with the believers, and that doesn't mean he's spatially with them, right? He's not close to them spatially. He's not like beside me, right? Or we can say jugular vein, or any of these things, right? So Allah's with the book, and that doesn't entail makan, and the book is also above the throne, and that can be makan. That's not an issue.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Okay, we have a question in the chat. I think Qabas, you can go first. If you can, yeah, when retrieving statements from previous companions and scholars, at which point can we make an epistemic claim that this particular excerpt definitely proves the author's views generally on ulu or yad? Go ahead, Qabas.
Sorry, but I was talking on you, but this is a very good question, right? So what we have to do is base things off the asr, and this is what happens in the Arabic language, right? Because now we're dealing with linguistics. To understand what somebody's saying, this is the science of linguistics. If somebody says something, The asl is you take it upon the apparent meaning. And that was mentioned by who? Imam al-Shafi'i. He said, Al-Quran ala zahirihi, that the Quran is upon its apparent meaning. The only time you leave the apparent meaning is if there is a reason to leave it. So when we read the quotes of the Sahaba and the Salaf and the Prophet ﷺ, we stay upon the asl unless there's a reason to leave the asl. So everything on asl, as Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he said in his book Usul al-Sunnah, هذه الأحاديث على ظاهرها. These hadiths are upon the apparent. So we make the epistemological claim based off of the asl. That's number one. We go on the asl. Number two, we look at the refutations they make. Why would Bukhari give synonyms to a word that he doesn't know the meaning to? If it's as Sam was saying earlier, that istiwa ma'loom means only the left, only the letters are known, why would Bukhari give a synonym? This shows us that clearly Bukhari had more knowledge than just the left. So we can use these jumps to make epistemological claims and say, yes, we know the meanings of these words because Bukhari gave synonyms to things that, according to Sam, Imam Malik didn't know synonyms for. And we can't say they had different methodologies because Bukhari said, I have the same methodology as Imam Malik. So we would use this as well. And this is how we make epistemological claims. We base it upon the linguistic asl, because otherwise we're going to go crazy. If I tell you I have an apple, but what I actually mean is I want to punch you in the face, we're not going to make any sense. So when I say I have an apple, it means I have an apple. Unless there's a reason for you to assume to go off the asl. And by the way, the majority of the cases you stay upon the asl. And this is mentioned by Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. It's a very powerful point. He says there's no reason for the asl to be the asl unless it's the majority case. But if you're saying the majority case is ta'weel, then that's not an asl anymore. So why would Imam Ahmad give it to us as an asl? So inshallah, akhi, that explains the question that you asked.
Okay, Sam, you can answer that second question.
So I would agree, just from what I've looked at from statements, and almost actually I will say most of the statements I didn't even bring in my thing because I didn't have enough time. Like just putting in and also you see sometimes I don't have references because I honestly just ran out of time to do that because I was literally awake till 1:30 and most of so I didn't have enough time to put in the references as well. I was like really tired, but I would say most of them. I will say that most statements are inconclusive. Okay. Um, so a lot of times they'll say pass it on, right? That's what like Imam Shafi says, Sufyan al-Thawri does, right? And my opponent can read that. I will grant him he can read it to say, oh, they pass it on, and they don't talk about the meaning because it's so obvious. They don't need to, right? Um, I will say that is okay. So yeah, I will say that most are like that, and most of the time it can be read in this way. But in light of some statements by a very important scholar from the Salaf, it's very clear that it cannot be read in my opponent's way. Abu Hanifa, for example, clearly says, and as you can't say this is fabricated, it's just like upset that um that what do you call it? That Allah doesn't have makan, right? You can see the Ahnaf and the scholar of Ahnaf, right? And Abu Hanifa is either Tabi or Tabi'in, depending on your definition, right? Imam Muhammad and Imam Abu Yusuf are both Tabi'in, right? So the Ahnaf who are from the Salaf, right? They clearly do not believe in makan. They do not believe in jihad, right? And I will also say that if you look at the people from the madhab, right? So for example, the Malikis, right? How they read, and I'll finish soon. How they read their teachers and their imams' statements. We read in light of that, right? Because really the fundamental thing is, and this is so this is the thing, right? So this is the fundamental thing. When you see the tahqiq done by the later scholars, right, of just 1 or 2 centuries afterward, and they go against you, you have to say two things. One, they either were correct or they just made stuff up, right? That's really ultimately goes. So when Bayhaqi says this is, or Ibn Hajar says the Salaf believe, so Ibn Hajar says the Salaf did Tafweed al-Mana, right? He's making a definition. He's not saying it's probably or my teacher told me or whatever. He's saying this is the case, okay? Either he's making this up, or he's negligent, right? He didn't investigate this, right? Or not. And look, we're not Protestants. We're not DIY scriptures, right? We're not like, oh, whatever I think. We follow on people who are more intelligent than us, who are scholars, and um, I I believe that Ibn Hajar is not an innovator. He's not malicious, and he's not negligent. Okay, that's where I would end with that.
Okay. Are there any questions for Qabas before we take the last question for Sam?
Roshan has a question for me. Bring him up.
Okay. Let me see. Sorry, who has a question for you?
Roshan. Which is funny because Roshan in Libya means Arabic. I didn't realize that his name was that.
Wait, isn't Batala say? Isn't the next question from Batala?
It's for Batata, but it's for you. But you already had two questions, so I've only had one. So it's
No.
Roshan,
Okay.
right? Because
Okay.
Yahya,
I thought we were doing chronological order, but okay.
so Yahya asked you the first question, and then the second question was for both of us. Now it's time for a question from me. Oh, Roshan's gonna ask for both of us. Yeah. So Roshan's gonna ask a question.
Okay, there we go. Go ahead, Roshan.
Hello, is this microphone working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crystal,
Assalamu alaikum. How are you both? Good?
Rahmatullah. I'm doing fantastic, man.
That's good. So while during the responses and rebuttals for the 3 minute thing, I noticed in regards with when Sam asked you a question in regards with a thought experiment, that if a person was a Christian or atheist or agnostic, how would they be able to see that the two hands, the two yad for Allah, is necessary, right? And you mentioned a response, and your response to that was, if forgive me, please correct me if I'm wrong,
Of course, yeah.
that if the Quran is true, then everything that Allah says must necessarily be true. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, exactly. If the Quran, Islam is true, then anything that comes from truth is true. Yeah.
Okay. So if we are to say that this if then statement is true,
Mm-hmm.
how are we able to prove the if?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, right? So the Quran can be proved through prophecies, through miracles, through the challenges that the Quran gives forward, and so on and so forth, right? If
Mm-hmm.
this stuff is used to prove that the Quran is true beyond the shadow of a doubt, then you can't have a contradictory thing exist. As Sam was saying earlier, that you have the law of non-contradiction. So either the Islam is true or it's false. So
Mm-hmm.
if Islam is true, then anything that comes from it is true. And if we can prove it's true using the examples I just gave, then anything that comes from it must be true, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
second thing is, if a Christian comes to me and tells me, prove to me that having four witnesses to testify against zina is objectively the best way to do things, well, I would say yes, objectively it's the best way to do things. And he says, prove it objectively. Well, the only way for me to prove it objectively is if I prove to him Islam is true, then anything that comes from truth is true. That's the only way to do it. And that was the methodology of the Prophet ﷺ. And as I mentioned earlier, when he asked me this question to prove hand is necessary without the Quran and the Sunnah, I told him, look, this is not the methodology of the Prophet. I use the methodology of the Prophet, and had his methodology been something I need to do, then the Prophet would have taught us how to do it, because of the qaida from Usul al-Fiqh, which I mentioned, that anything that will come to be, the Prophet must teach us about it. For example, if the Prophet tells us, pray salah tomorrow, then he must teach me how to pray salah before tomorrow comes. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
that's injustice. So, if the Prophet tells us to tell people Islam is true, then he must tell me how to do that. So, we look at the da'wah of the Prophet. And the Prophet ﷺ never used the methodologies that Sam is trying to use and try and force upon me. You get what I mean? So, I'm
Mm-hmm.
using the Prophet's methodology to prove that Islam is true, and that's the methodology of the Atharis of the Salaf.
Okay.
Does that, you can ask me a follow up though to make sure you understood, like everything's clear. Does that make sense?
Okay. So in regards with that,
I think.
no, I think give me some time with the follow up. You can skip me for now.
Okay, but that was okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Next
Well, then
question.
we'll go to Batata for Sam's last question.
Okay, Batata's for both of us, he said in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Then Sam will answer first.
All right.
Or,
Which one? Okay. Are the modern Mujassima kuffar? And if yes, what is
no,
it?
sorry, Sam. He has a different question he's going to ask on Mike.
Okay.
Go ahead, Batata. You're on mute.
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Batata, your mic is not working if you're speaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, sorry. I've seen a hadith from Muslim Imam Ahmad saying the Prophet ﷺ was speaking about the Day of Judgment, saying that people in the Day of Judgment at the time of Hashr, Allah would call them with a sound that people from far away would hear him. How would both sides reconcile the idea of people being far away from Allah?
Well, can you quote the hadith fully? It's the one that says يسمعه من بعد كمن قرب, right?
Yeah, I sent the hadith in the side chat.
Yeah, just so we have the full hadith, it says that Allah speaks with a sound that the one who is far away from Allah will hear it the same way the one who is close from Allah is. And your question is, how can someone be closer to Allah and somebody be further from Allah? Is that your question?
Yeah, from both sides.
Okay. Who goes first? Yeah, Ahmed, me or Sam?
Sam.
Okay, go ahead, Sam.
Okay, so
It's
the
a very
word,
good question.
sorry?
I was just saying it's a good question, but go ahead, Sam.
Okay, so it's not, I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. This is not, you're not asking about how we hear it, but about far away.
He can't.
The hadith mentions that people, some of the people are far and some of the people are close. So, in what sense they are like
Yeah.
far or
So,
close?
okay, perfect. Thank you. Because Abu Hanifa literally talks about this in Fiqh al-Akbar, right? I'm going to quote him. I'm not even going to say anything about it. I'm just going to show what he says. Okay. So he says, one second. He says Allah's nearness. I'm on, right? Yeah. Allah's nearness or distance is not in terms of physical proximity, but rather in terms of honor and disgrace. The one who's the obedient one is near to him without modality, while the disobedient one is far from him without modality. That's the end of my thing, by the way.
Okay.
Yo, I'm
Then
so sorry. I know if you don't have to, if you don't want to, Sam. My Wi-Fi cut out for a second. Can you repeat your answer? I genuinely didn't hear it. If it's okay with
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Okay. As I'm just quoting Abu Hanifa, I'm not even saying anything else. Quote Abu Hanifa, quote, Allah's nearness is or distance is not in terms of physical proximity, but rather in terms of honor and disgrace. The obedient one is near to him without modality, while the disobedient one is far from him without modality. And the Arabic is وَلَيْسَ قَرَبَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى وَلَا بَعْدْ مِنْ طَرِيقِ
Yeah, that's fine. The Arabic doesn't make
yeah.
sense with all due respect. That's okay. I got you. Tamam. My turn to answer?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so this is a very good question, yeah, Batata. Bukhari brings this as well, not just Ahmed ibn Hanbal. And Bukhari brings it in his book Khalq Af'al al-Ibad. Under the chapter, the idea is he's proving the speech of Allah. Allah speaks with sounds and letters because it says yunadi bi sawt. Allah calls with a sound, and then he says yasma'uhu man ba'ud kaman qarab, that the one who is far away from Allah will hear it like the one who is close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if somebody reads the hadith on Yawm al-Qiyamah, they will know people will be in different places in different locations. Some people closer and from others, and some people further from others. So this is speaking about a real distance, right? Not who's more pious and who's more evil. This is very clear, I think, that proves you can be closer to Allah. And this is explained by the Salaf. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, who's from one of the Salaf, what did he say? He said, رأس المنارة أقرب إلى الله من أسفلها, that the top of the minaret is closer to Allah from the bottom. And this is in Sunnah by Darimi, I believe. So, or sorry, Ar-Rad al-Jahmiyyah by Darimi, or Ar-Rad al-Bishr al-Marisi, one of those two books. So we say yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there can be a distance between you and him, but in terms of piety and taqwa, of course, there's also a separate distance which is distinct, which is not spoken about, because what's the difference between the top of the minarah and the bottom? So yes, that's a good question, and it does prove that there can be a distance between you and Allah. Ahsan Allah alaykum, good question.
Barakallahu feekum.
And by the way, I know we said 3 questions each, but Shaukat has a question, or A has a question, Roshan still has a follow-up. So if the questions are for me, I'll speak on myself. I'm happy to accept more than 3 questions, but I don't have an issue with that for myself.
I'll ask 2 more as well, but then I
Go for it. So show who wants to go first? You pick, Ahmed. You're the mod. Who picks? Shaukat can ask as well. It's okay.
okay. I just need to catch up on the chat. I think okay. Sure, Yusuf, you can go ahead because you had a question earlier.
But his question is not for me, is it? He sent his question in the chat. I'll ask it for Sam. Yusuf asked in the chat, why does Razi, when he's speaking about the attributes of Allah, use Aristotle and call him an imam? Why does Razi call Aristotle an imam when speaking about the attributes of Allah? That was Yusuf's question.
thought it was Plato that he calls imam.
Sorry, Plato, not Aristotle. You're correct. Aflaton, Plato.
Yeah. This is so irrelevant to discussion. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, okay, but you do
okay. Qabas, no commentary.
Okay,
that's his answer. Okay, who has a question addressed to Qabas?
Hussein does one.
Hussein? Okay.
ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد. This is a very, very good question. And I'll add more to it. I'll give you more. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا يَكُنُ النَّجْوَ مِنْ ثَلَاثَ إِلَّا وَهُوَ رَابِعُهُمَا. There's no group of three people except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with them. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the Quran, he says to Abu Bakr, لا تحزن إن الله معنا. Don't be scared. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. And all of these ayat that you, like I've mentioned, and the one you mentioned, is about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being with us. So how can Allah be with us if Allah is above the throne? So we see these ayat, for example, the one you quoted, it says, وَنَعْلَمُ مَا تُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسُهُ. We know what his soul tells him, whispers to him. So it starts with ilm. And if you go to tafsir of the Salaf, al-Tabari and others, they say this is Allah with us, مَعِيَّةَ ilm. We go outside of the Zahir. Why do we go outside the Zahir? Because the Salaf said here we go outside the Zahir. And this actually is not necessarily going out the Zahir, because, for example, if I say رَأَيْتُ أَسَدًا, I saw a lion. This means I saw the animal of a lion. But if I say رأيت أسدا في المعركة يجاهد في سبيل الله يقتل الكفار, if I say I saw a lion on the battlefield fighting for the sake of Allah, killing the kuffar or whatever, that would mean I saw a warrior. But both of those are the apparent meaning. So the context, the siyaq, dictates what's the apparent and what's not. So the context of the ayah you quoted and the context of the other ayat which I quoted, for example, the one that says there's no group of three people except Allah is the fourth, it starts with ilm and it ends with ilm. And this is what Imam al-Tabari mentions in tafsir of this ayah. Because it starts with ilm and ends with ilm, Allah is with us with His knowledge. As Imam Malik said, Allah is above the throne and His knowledge is everywhere. So if Allah is above His throne and His knowledge is everywhere, then Allah's knowledge is with us. So this is how we understand this ayah according to the Salaf of this ummah.
Okay. RA, you can go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Do you hear me?
Wa alaykum as-salam, yes.
حياكم الله. I have a question for the Maturidi brother in Islam. So, Akhi, the question that I have is there's a hadith that's narrated by Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn Hibban, and Abu Dawood, and it's been authenticated by a lot of scholars, right? So, and even Al-Razi brings it in Ta'sis al-Taqdis and he tries to refute it, okay? It's a famous hadith. So the hadith goes like this. When Allah created Adam, Allah closed his two hands, okay? And then he told Adam to choose between his two hands. And Adam chose the right hand. So Allah opened the right hand. Then Adam looked in the right hand and he saw Adam in his like the real. Now the question I'm going to ask, okay? If somebody was to hold to Tafweed, right? He would have to say that this hadith goes like this, according to the Sahaba, when they hear it from the Prophet. It would go like this. Allah created Adam and he X'd his two X's. Okay? And then he told Adam to choose one of the two X's. Then Adam chose the XX. Then Allah X the X. Okay, now this type of like conversation, do you think this is befitting of a prophet?
Jazakumullah khair.
Okay, so as Ibn Qudama says that these ambiguous verses they have a purpose, right? And the purpose is that the people of desire, they'll try to go into the meanings and they'll try to say this is what this means, this is what that means. And they're a test so that you remain obedient, because we know the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is truthful even when we don't know the meanings. And so we affirm them, right? And
No,
we don't delve into them.
host. That was not my question, host. That's not my question. Can I repeat my
That's my
you
answer.
didn't
That's my
understand.
answer. That's my
No, no,
answer.
is it befitting? No. Listen to the sentence and tell me if it's befitting or not befitting. Okay. Imagine the Prophet of God comes up to you and he tells you Allah created Adam with his two X'd, okay, because closed, it just, we don't know what it means, right? His two X'd. And then he told Adam to choose one of the X's. Then Adam chose the XX. Then Allah X'd the X'd.
Yeah.
And then Adam
Okay.
looked into the X.
Yeah.
Is this type of speech meaningless,
Yes, it's
continuous
meaningless.
sentence?
Yeah.
Is this
But we don't say
sentence
the yet is meaningless. We
befitting
don't
of...
we don't say the yet is meaningless.
Yeah. But not the people who hear, they
X
hear
is
this.
meaningless. X is meaningless.
Yeah, no. But the people who hear, when they hear the word hand, open, close, they just hear X. They don't understand what it means. So it sounds like this to them. Is this befitting of a prophet of God?
No, it's not the same, because there are possible meanings, right? And the entire point is that you have two routes. You can say what it's not of the meaning, of the possible meanings. So we, for example, yed, I think we both agree, both me and Qabas will agree, yed, whenever it's used, will not refer to a car. Okay, X can refer to a car. X can refer to anything. But there's a set amount of meanings yed has. And car is not one of them, obviously, right? So there's two routes you can take. One is you say that I don't know what it is. That's, again, what the Hanabila do. right? That's what most of the Salaf do, to say, I won't go into what it is. I'm just going to say what it's not, okay? And what it's not is a body part, okay? Or you can take the way of the Khalaf and say that, okay, there are possible meanings. And again, as El Nawi says, I don't have my quote, I don't have the quote with me, but I think it's someone made. He says that people who know the Arabic language, right? They can do ta'wil. So they can do ta'wil, right? So in this context, I don't know. So I won't do ta'wil. I'll only ta'wil when I first see a scholar who does the ta'wil and says that these are possible meanings, right? The point is that when it comes to these things, it's not like X. X has any meaning, yet has a set amount of meanings, and we just say we have two approaches. We say either this is not what it means, or this is a possible, these are possible meanings. So either you just say what it's not, or you say what it could be. And that's how we deal with that. Next is Shokat's turn to ask, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Shaukat.
Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم
Jaza-
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Jazakallah khairan to both you guys for
وإياكم.
your bringing forward your points. So I have a question.
For me?
Qabas, yeah, yourself or maybe someone who holds your position can clarify.
Okay.
So I'm new to these debates and or this topic in general.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't explored much, but my initial understanding of the topic was that the Salafi slash Athari position was that they would hold that God has certain attributes,
Correct.
like hands, shin, um, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at that time, like not too long ago, I understood that this entailed that God was physical and it was a body, and this was accepted. But then I came across like recently that these things are affirmed, but it is denied that God has a body. And so I wanted to understand, can you provide clarification on this just for my knowledge, in regards to what the stance is? And maybe if I have follow-up questions in regards to that.
So just to make sure I understand your question, is you asking, or so are you asking, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have a jism?
So maybe English, just because my knowledge of Arabic is not too
That's
good.
fine.
Yeah, but does jism mean body?
Yeah, jism means body, correct.
So yes, is that something that the school holds, or is it something that it's okay with, or is it something that's not okay with?
Okay, so Ibn Taymiyyah, he speaks about this in Fatawa al-Kubra, and he says that the topic about mentioning Allah having a jism is not something that the Salaf affirmed or denied. It's not a word that they spoke about. And if you go back to the books of the Salaf, they don't use the word jism, ja, sin, mim, as it is, okay? Uh, Rather, what we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't have a jism and He has a jism. What does this even mean? It depends on the meaning of the word. If by jism you mean something which has composition, which is made up of distinct parts that can be removed and put back, and they are contingent and they're not necessary, and so on and so forth, then we say yes, this should be a jism, and we negate this for Allah, and this is not accepted. But if by jism you mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has different attributes, like He has hearing, He has seeing, He has mercy, He has wrath, He has qudra, power, hands, feet, so on and so forth, and they're different from each other, then we affirm that yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has that. If you want to call that a jism, you can call that a jism. We don't call that a jism. What we call a
So
jism is the composition. When you say that there, yeah, go ahead.
question, so I understand power, and whatnot, but when we say hand, shin, and whatnot, these more, because these are in my understanding, these are spatial, temporally located, right? When these are affirmed, are they spatially temporally are they spatially located, or are they just the same status as power, will, and whatnot? At which
Yes.
point they just denote certain attributes that we're not
Yeah,
exactly sure what they do.
yeah, I get your question. So we say they're distinct. The attributes of a'yan, which would be what we call a'yan, which is the hands, the feet, the face, so on and so forth. But then the stuff which is like power and qudra, we say these are not sifat a'yan, they're sifat ma'ani, and so on and so forth. These
I
are
so
distinct. Huh?
sorry, go ahead,
No,
finish.
I was just going to say these are separate. You're correct to say that they're separate, but to say about the spatial temporal location and this and that, what we say is what Abu Dawood said. Allah is above the throne with his attributes. So is Allah's foot above the throne? Yes. Is Allah's hand above the throne? Yes. Now, if somebody asks, is Allah's foot above his hand? We say this is the how, it's the kayfiyah, which Allah did not teach us. So we don't speak about that. Because the Salaf said we don't ask about.
Yeah, it's just it's no, for sure I can see that how it's not asked, but it's almost entailed. Do you get what I'm saying? That if they're spatially temporally located, then they're spatially located because up is a direction, it's a coordinate, right? And things in space, you can say, right?
Yes.
Um,
So we say
and
Allah
so
is up with his attributes. Which attribute is above which attribute and stuff like this, that goes into the kayfiyah. So nobody, unless they see Allah, can say that.
but wouldn't you say that it's entailed that from this position that because you said that one definition of the word jism is that it cannot be parts that are distinct. Am I correct in understanding that, or am I incorrect?
Not that they have to be distinct, but parts means something you can take away and put back, something contingent, not necessary.
So so okay, Sam brought up something that's moderated related. I just want to finish this question, then we can bring up the moderated related thing and about the recording. Sorry, so the contingent and necessary, correct me if I'm wrong, but this contingent and necessary distinction, is this a necessary in regards to like the necessary being in regards to the contingency argument, or is it more, as you stated, the necessary because the Quran is true, therefore these these attributes are true? Because if it's the latter, then that's different, because then it's necessary because the Quran is true. But if it's the former, then there's slight you can say slight it's not necessary, you can say, if you get what I'm saying. If it's the logical necessary versus the more of the scriptural necessary. If it's the scriptural necessary, then it's more coherent. So
It's the scriptural necessary in terms of it's proving it, but in terms of the other one, the logical necessary, there is no
yeah.
logical contradiction of the hand being necessary. So just because somebody doesn't provide you a logical argument to why it's necessary, that doesn't mean the opposite must be true. You get what I mean? So I would tell the Christian or the atheist or whoever it may be
Yeah,
to give me a logical argument to why it's a contradiction for the hand to be necessary.
but
That's what I would say.
Habibi Qabas, because what is spatial temporally located? If I'm correct in understanding this, if it is spatially located, then that entails contingency, and contingency entails not necessary, which then you have an X and not X situation.
Can you replace the last part about X and not X?
Because spatial location usually denotes, unless there's a formulation of contingency that I'm not aware of, but usually in as the contingency argument, are we talking about the Burhan al-Siddiqeen, or what version of the contingency argument are we talking about? Because I know
I'm not.
Muhammad Hijab made certain formulations of contingency, but generally what's spatially located is contingent, and what's contingent is necessarily not
But
necessary.
where did we say Allah spatial? Where we don't use this terminology. We don't say this in Arabic or English. We don't affirm the Arab. We say makan is a place. To use the word
Yeah,
or a physical location. Once again, by the way, we don't believe in a physical location even existing, and the Ash'ari don't believe a physical location exists either. By the way, so
okay. Well,
I would say that this is a fallacy in terms of living with two options without a third. And I would say there is a third, something existing in a place. It doesn't have to necessitate being spatial. And secondly, it doesn't have to be a physical location in terms of which contingency applies or doesn't apply.
if it's okay, so when we say up, what is up? It's a coordinate in space. Am I correct, or is there a different definition?
Yes, yes, it is. But let me give you an example. Because are you saying that everything that exists must exist in either exist? So you agree it must exist in a place or not a place, correct?
It must exist in a place or not a place.
There's no third option.
Um, yeah, we can affirm that generally, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in a place, okay, we say he's not in a place, he created the creation at one point in time. You would agree?
He created the creation at one point in time, and he's not in a place. Okay, sure.
Was this creation in a place or not a place?
The one that he created,
Yeah.
it became in a place at that point once it
So
was
he
created.
so he created a place at the same time, correct?
So yes, correct. So like the place, so like space time, we're talking about space time, or we're just talking about the word place?
The place. So the place when it was created, was it created inside of a place?
The place was space-time created inside another space-time. Is that what you're
Basically,
saying?
I'll give you the whole arguments, right? So you can see it from a
Okay.
bird's eye view.
Okay.
If Allah is not in a place and He created the first creation, and that
Yes.
creation in a place, that means this place either was created in a place or was not created in a place. If you say it was created in a place, then you fall into infinite regress of this place being in a place and being in a place in a place. Do you see that there? If you say the other one, that you say the place was not created in a place, that means this place, which does not exist in a place, shares the attribute of Allah of being in la makan, which means there's tashbih between Allah's existence and the creation of this place. Do you follow the argument?
Repeat the latter one.
The second one. If
Yeah.
the place exists, okay, and it was created by Allah, but it was created in no place. It was created in la makan, without a place.
Yeah, so there was
That
no
would-
place and then a place happened. Okay, I
yeah,
follow
and
that.
then so this place exists in no place, correct?
So this place exists. So this let's say there's a space-time created. Outside the space-time, there is no other thing.
Perfect.
Correct. Yes.
Wonderful. This space-time that's inside of no, like everything, there's nothing else around it. It
Yes.
means it shares the attribute of la makan with Allah. So
What's
how
la
can it,
makan?
la makan is Allah? So you said Allah exists in no place, correct? La makan means no place. So
Okay.
does this place exist in the same way of Allah existing in la makan? If it does, then there's tashbih between that and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can say that there's a difference because this one's created and Allah's uncreated. But then would you say the only difference between Allah's attribute of being in la makan is the fact that it's created and everything else is identical? We would say that's tashbih. Do you follow this?
You repeat that last portion. So I followed that they're both, Allah is in this no place, and then the space-time is in no place surrounding
And
it.
that means exactly that means they
Nothingness.
share the same. Exactly, that means they share it. It's,
Alright,
this
sorry,
attribute.
sorry to interrupt the Shabab, but
Can I quickly
is it
finish
right?
it?
No,
I'm
no,
really
I'm
enjoying
just
this.
saying,
Give me like two. Oh yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm like, there's 5 more minutes and I'm closing the meeting. You guys can continue on your own call. Okay.
Actually, no.
Okay,
Can we do that? I have to drive Shokit home, so.
Okay, we'll be quick. I'm with Shaukat right now. We'll be like it's 4 minutes and we'll be done. So what I'm saying, Shaukat, is
Yeah.
Allah exists in la makan and this place exists in la makan. You agree?
So I would say they would share this if Allah was spatially, temporally located, then it would follow. But if God was not spatially, temporally located, there's an assumption here that they're both spatially, temporally located, and they're both surrounded by the same thing, the same nothingness. Do you get what I'm saying?
But the place, is it surrounded by nothingness?
The space-times is surrounded by nothingness in this analogy.
Okay, so is there two different types of nothingness?
So it is surrounded by nothingness, but when you say that there's nothingness around us, as soon as you postulate something else existing, then you have an idea of space, because then you can have coordinates in this area. Right?
Yeah, but outside the coordinates, they share the same nothingness, because nothingness is only one thing.
Outside of the same one more time, Kabash, repeat that.
Outside of the space-time, outside of the coordinates, it's nothingness. And that nothingness is the same nothingness which is Allah is in.
So no, because then this as soon as you postulate that God exists in this example, because if you postulate two space-times, right, and you can say one is God or one is just two universes that exist in this nothingness, then you are dealing with another dimension of like another space-time that encompasses both space-times, because then there is a distance between the first and the second. So it does not really nothingness, because then you have a distance in between the two. So now you have another spatial coordinates that's existing, if you get what I'm saying.
I get you, but if you have a distance between two things, then this is our definition, and it's also the Ash'ari position of what a makan means, the definition of a makan. So you run into the same problem. But because Shaukat, I gave you a long time, more than everyone else, because you have a special place in my heart. We'll discuss this. We'll continue this, me and you, another time. We'll give somebody else another chance. But I gave you as much time as
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. I appreciate it.
No worries. Khalas, one more question.
No.
Wait, before we end though, I just want to bring the moderators that the conditions of the debate were broken. Because the condition was no recording, and the Salafis did.
Who recorded it? Yusuf did, right? Or whoever? The person who sent the record. Okay, look. Wallahi, I swear by Allah, whoever in the WhatsApp group chat sent the recording, I didn't tell them to send it. And I didn't know that they recorded it. I didn't even know they had a recording. The one who sent it in the WhatsApp. So I'm free from that person's action there. And I don't know if he said he's not going to record. I said I won't record. I didn't record. I upheld my word.
No, that was a condition though, right? That no one will record it, right? So that means
Yeah,
when you came into so I'm not speaking to you. When I say you, I'm talking to people. When you come into this debate, when we say so, if we lay out condition, no recording. So when you come into this discussion, that means you've accepted those terms as an audience member.
How do you know it wasn't a Maturidi who recorded it and sent it to him?
That's okay. Any matter did it. They're also broken amina, and I won't yeah. So I don't care. I'm not talking about. But
yeah, how about this? We can't do much. I'll just I'll delete the link from the chat to the recording, but I can tell you definitely both the moderators we didn't know there's going to be a recording. But I'll go up. I'll delete actually it may have already been deleted. Was it?
Yeah, it was deleted from what I see.
Okay.
So, and we both agree that whoever did do this, they have broken amina, right?
Yes.
Between not just me, because even if you consider me a kafir, right? Let's say someone consider you a kafir. They'll at least consider one of us in this four. So between me, you, Qabas, and Shokat to a Muslim, and they broke in an amina with a Muslim.
I give up on my haqq. I do tanazzul. So this person, inshallah, they don't get punished because I don't want a Muslim to get punished. So I do tanazzul on my haqq.
Yeah. So let's end with that because.
That was a good debate. Jazakumullah khair, everyone, for showing up. May Allah reward you all, and we'll call it a day. I'm going to go back to Discord if anyone wants to join. But assalamu alaikum, shabab. And by the way, thank you to Ahmed and Shawkat for being mods. Very unbiased. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right.
Jazakumullah khairan, everyone.
Wadi says that Shawkat asked me for 10 minutes.
We'll take it offline. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم everyone.